welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Appreciate your patience this morning as we got set and ready to go here on Wake Up Call, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And I cannot thank you enough for being inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and I can't thank you enough for those of you that head out to Great Lakes Honda City yourselves to find your first ride or your next ride right there, with all different shapes and sizes, from the Accord and the Civic to the Honda Pilot, as well as the HR-V, the CR-V, the Odyssey, and more. The Ridgeline, which my dad loves. You can find it all at Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And, of course, they are open all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We are up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. You'll find over 2,000 broadcasts. Of course, you can also find us on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT, so make sure you check us out there, where sports meets life. Can't thank you enough. No matter how you're tuned into the show and where you're watching and listening from, we appreciate you all so very much every single broadcast. So with that being said, jam-packed show. We're taking Thursday's broadcast and bonding it with Friday's broadcast as far as segments go, because your boy's got to go in for a little bit of surgery. And so any prayers I would greatly appreciate, and thank you for saying them. And, obviously I pray for everybody. I pray for all of you that whatever's going on in your life, you're well and you stay well. And so with me having to go in for a little bit of surgery, I just wanted to make sure that you got everything you were supposed to get for this week. And so that's why we're bonding Thursday and Friday's broadcast, because I have special set up for you tomorrow. So you will have something on tomorrow's broadcast, and you obviously have us here with you today. So you'll have something to look forward to tomorrow, an all-new special on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And then today we'll make sure that we hit all of our segments. So God bless to you all. Thanks to you all. Thank you for your prayers, your well wishes, your kindness, and your goodness. I cannot thank you enough for that. So with that being said, let's hop right into the show. Of course, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics for the day and special segments. We'll start the show off, as we always do on a Thursday, with the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. And then from there, we'll get into the Annoying Moment of the Week. We'll get into our trio from Friday that we're moving into Thursday for this week only. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. And then from there, we will get into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first Chick-fil-A here in our community of Central New York. And then we will get on to the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And then Ross Turetsky, fellow broadcaster and writer, and a brother to me in every stretch of the imagination and in every meaning of the word. He will be with me at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time to speak about sports and life. So a lot of great stuff coming up right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Let's start things off with the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. Big time shout out to my Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Myers Creek, and that goes to Catherine Knapp. Catherine Knapp of the Fayetteville Manlius Hornets softball team had 1 hit, 2 runs, and an RBI here in 3 at-bats in an 8-2 victory to end the regular season for the Fayetteville Manlius Hornets ahead of the postseason, ahead of sectionals. They have now won 9 in a row and have an overall record of 16-3. So a big-time shout-out to Catherine Knapp, our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Myers Creek. You can go to Myers Creek on the countryside by going out to 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, and you can also see them inside of the city of Syracuse, right by Destiny USA and the new aquarium being built, by going over to 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. So, big time shout out to Catherine Knapp, as well as all of FM Hornets softball program, all the student athletes, the coaches, the families. Big time shout out, big time congratulations on a great season so far, and I'm sure they would tell you this, more work to be done as they step forward into the postseason, into sectionals. Today we are honoring Catherine Knapp, FM Hornets softball student athlete, with a hit, 2 runs, and to have an RBI in 3 at-bats in an 8-2 victory to end the regular season for FM with a win that gives them their 16th win in 19 games this season. And of those 16 wins, more than half of them are part of the streak right now, and that streak being 9 wins in a row for the Hornets as they bring the buzz right in to the postseason. Congratulations to Catherine Knapp, our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Myers Creek. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we're going to take a quick step aside on the broadcast. When we come back, the annoying moment of the week. I'm laughing because I just love doing this segment. So the annoying moment of the week will be coming up to you in just a moment. And of course, as you can see, I am wearing a logo that many of you Mandalorian fans know all too well. I've been wearing Star Wars attire throughout the week as The Mandalorian and Grogu hits theaters tonight. They say it's a Friday release whenever a movie comes out, but let's be real, the movie comes out Thursday. So you could go and see it, and my prediction, I'm going to be posting today on Superpowered Pop, the prediction that I've had for over a year. We'll see if it comes to fruition either in this movie or in a sequel to this movie. But I have a prediction that I'm going to put out there because I once again want to let everybody know before you see the movie what I felt like was going to happen in the world of the Mandalorian and Grogu specifically. So we'll talk about that on Superpowered Pop today. So make sure you check us out there on our entertainment show at Superpowered, P-O-W-E-R-E-D, Pop. Superpowered Pop on Facebook, X, and Instagram. In the meantime, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, we will take a step aside and be back with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express, right after this.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to K9campground.com as well. That's K9 kampground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K-9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, a food truck battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the state fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food, and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously, we've lived here our whole lives. So it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, SKIPTHECAKE, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
And a welcome welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Coming up here is the annoying moment of the week, and as I said to you before the break here, we are bonding Thursday's show with Friday's show because we have a special episode that's going to air on tomorrow's broadcast of Wake Up Call, as your boy is going in for a little bit of surgery. So any prayers and well wishes are much appreciated, and I thank you in advance for that. And I'm not leaving you empty-handed. So there will be something to watch, something really special that I got to work on here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So make sure you don't miss it. And beyond that, the opportunity of being here with you today and making sure that we brought both the shows together, the Thursday broadcast and the Friday broadcast together, so that you can get all the segments. So that's why we're doing what we're doing a day early with the annoying moment of the week, lead and top dog of the week, and bonding those to today's show. So I thank you for being here with us as we do a nice mashup of Thursday and Friday's typical broadcasts here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora ahead of my surgery. So with that being said, let's jump into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at the Baked Potato Express. If you want the Baked Potato Express at your event, and why wouldn't you? If you want them out there hanging out with you, all you got to do is email thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. That is don't forget the thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com, and send them the information for your event. And if it's something that works out in their schedule and they can do it and make it happen, then they'll be out to see you. And you can go and see them at the concerts at the amphitheater this summer as well, going through this nice weather. So the concerts that are coming through, the Baked Potato Express will be out at the Lakeview Amphitheater. They will also be at the New York State Fair. And on Wednesdays, they're at the Great Northern Mall parking lot, where they have a bunch of food trucks that they've been doing for years. So make sure you go out and see the Baked Potato Express at events throughout the community. And if you want them to come to your event, email thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. That is thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. And with that being said, let's hop into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at the Baked Potato Express, that is headed up, by Dylan Husted. And much appreciation and many thanks to Dylan for believing in my vision and my mission here and having some fun and partnering up together. So my annoying moment of the week for today, for this week, man, I've talked about travel before, so I don't know if I want to talk about, I've talked about these roads and the way that people just drive like just weird. Like, so, I look at people like, hey, who gave you a license? Like, what instructor was drunk and asleep that gave you your license? So, and listen, I know people make mistakes. I make mistakes. Okay. It's just, some people are out here driving in a way that makes you think, like, do they know what a stop sign is? Are they familiar with lanes? Do they know they have this thing called a directional that you can use to let people know where you're going? All that stuff, right? But I me and of myself could be better with my paying attention on the road, and I will be, and I hope you will be too, by the grace of God and in Jesus' name. I give that promise. Amen. I hope you do too. In your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. My annoying moment of the week for this week. Trying to think of where I want to go with this. So, I would... I think it's something every week in America lately, but I think it's the PC, the politically correct. I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous. Be who you are, okay? Here's a rule of thumb. Don't worry about being politically correct, which is really just pandering to whatever is the fad at the time. I don't know why they call it politically correct, why they use the word politics. I guess politics because people, not every politician, but people stereotype that a politician is going to want to say the correct thing and not offend anybody at any given time. So maybe that's why we say politically correct. Why they put politics in, that kind of moniker that we use, because you're politically trying to navigate and make sure you don't offend anybody. But in today's America, somebody's offended by everything, right? You pick up, like right here, I'll take this, right? Josh Gideon gave this to me from GG Cards and Breaks, right? So this is white, and it has a black strap on it, right? So you have the strap, and you can close it like that. It holds your cards. The sleeves are black. The cover is white. Pretty simple, right? Black, white. In today's America, someone can go, that's offensive. It shouldn't be black or white. It could be gray. It could be blue. It could be green. I don't know what color it is. Could be whatever I want it to be. And I would tell those people to go see a psychiatrist. There's nothing wrong with going to a therapist. But outside of being colorblind, which is something you can't control, you can control this is white, that is black. This cannot be green, that cannot be blue, they cannot be orange, they cannot be turquoise, pink, whatever. But in today's America, people don't want to offend anybody. So if you say that's white and you're a teacher and someone goes, that's pink to me, you go, okay, honey, okay. And that's stupid. And then you create lunatics in our society. And somebody has to call this out, because insanity is insanity. And children don't know that they're being insane. They don't know that their parents are teaching them insanity, because they're children. So a child, there was some woman that said their child decided like what gender it was at 1 year old. You can't even speak. You can't even speak. It's like, my child let me know and did the research. What research? It's a baby. It's literally like, if they can sit up at 1, congratulations. Like, it's astronomically insane in today's America that there are adults who should know better that are teaching children to not know better. There's no black and white. Everything's gray. You know who lives in the gray? The devil. The devil, where he blends good and bad. It's a sin, but it could also be a good thing. Oh, it's a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing. That's who lives in the gray. The devil. Because the devil doesn't want you to do good things, so he's going to make you feel that they're bad. And he's going to want you to do bad things, so he's going to justify that they're good. You see society right now? You see the parallel? This is not what it is, but we'll tell you what it is to make you feel a little bit better. Oh, this is a good thing, but we're going to, Well, you say, Dan, how does that connect to that being a white case and somebody saying it's pink? Because when we distort reality, we start to distort it we start to distort it maybe in little ways, but then eventually we distort it in a grandiose way. The snowball effect. See how much America will take, right? Tell Americans that this is this. And they go, that's crazy. That's so far over here, right? But then little by little, chip away. And listen, this has been happening. If you go back and watch movies and TV shows, there have been things I didn't even notice I was watching where, call it the media, call it powers in the shadows, call it whatever you want to call it. There are powers that be that were chipping away at our reality a long time ago. We just weren't paying attention. And some of you might say you're a conspiracy theorist. No. I pay attention. I'm in the media, and I know how powerful the media is. And I think I learn every day that it's even more powerful than I think it should be. And when we look at this country, there are things we used to think were insane. Okay? I'm not singling out this person. I'm just talking about something here. I was on vacation, and there was a woman, and she had a fake dog that she was holding in the elevator. The dog was fake. I don't even know why I have to like repeatedly say something like that, say it more than once. But it was a stuffed animal of what looked to be maybe a German Shepherd. It was a stuffed animal. It was a toy. And it's a toy that an actual dog would rip up and play with. And she's holding the dog, and she gets on the elevator, and I'm there, my mom's there, and there's a family with children. And these little girls who don't know any better, right? They go, "Is that a real dog or a fake dog?" And the girl that's holding the fake dog says, "Well, it's real to me." And they're like, "Oh, can we pet it?" You know, and okay, part of this is a child's imagination, but these kids also weren't like little. And when you ask the girl, "Is the dog real or not?" she doesn't say, "No, but it's real to me." She says, "It's real to me." So now the girls start petting the fake dog. And if that happens enough, now, if it's a real dog or a fake dog, those children have now been indoctrinated into believing whatever's told to them, even if it's not true. And then when the girl got off of the elevator, she was wearing herself a giant tail. And I know some people would say, "Dan, why would you talk about this on your show? Because it's going to cause people to be upset." Get upset. If you're the parent of a child who's wearing a tail, you should be talked to. You should be. You should be. It's not Halloween. It's not Comic-Con. You should be talked to. Okay? There was a woman attacked by a dog that was allegedly pretending to be a dog. She thought she was a dog. She was clearly a woman. And a dog attacked her. And guess what? She didn't know what to do. Why? Because she's not a dog. So, you know, and you don't see this happening in nature. There's no lion stretching out its neck, hanging out with the giraffes going, "I'm a giraffe now." You know, that's not, there's no lion jumping in the water and going to the bottom of the lake going, "I'm a hippo," because it would drown. You know, animals are smart enough to not be stupid. Yet we're supposed to be the most advanced race, and somehow some of us have completely lost or never gained intelligence. And Dan, are you calling somebody an idiot for wearing a tail? I'm not calling them a name. I'm saying this person was 30 to 40 years old. If you're a little kid and you're wearing it, have fun. You're going to the amusement park for the day. You want to put on your Mario hat, your Luigi hat. You know, you want to put on your King Koopa shell. There's a difference between liking Mario, the game, putting on, or a TV show or a movie, putting on King Koopa's shell and putting your stuff in that because it's a book bag and being like, "Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show, I'm a fan of the game." There's a difference between being a fan of it and then putting on the turtle shell and thinking you're a turtle. Now, when you're 4, that makes sense because you're playing in your imagination, and then eventually you might ask your parents, "Mom, Dad, can I be a turtle when I grow up?" And then they say, "No, you can't be a turtle when you grow up. You can play, you can live in, you know, you could play one in a movie, but you can't actually be a turtle. You're a human being," right? Pinocchio wanted to be a real boy. And now we live in America where real boys want to be maybe a marionette now? I have no idea. We've literally gone backwards of the story of Pinocchio. It makes no sense to me. We've devolved. And people would say this is controversial. I would say it's common sense. If you're talking to my child and you're like, "This is the real dog," and it's clearly like a piñata, like, then please don't do that with my child. If you want to be insane over there. Please do not bring it to my child. Because then I got to sit in the car and they go, well, Daddy, our dog at home moves around and they lick our hands and our faces. Why was that dog just looking at us? Because it's stuffed. Doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have real eyes. It doesn't exist in the realm of it was created by God. This was created by Mattel or Hasbro or whatever company. So there's just this like, and there's a bunch of different examples. It doesn't have to be that example, but there's so many things in our society now that we used to think were nuts that we don't think are nuts anymore. Why don't we think this stuff is crazy anymore? And I'm not saying we have to call these people crazy, but we also don't need to shy away from them and cower in the corner and be afraid of being canceled or yelled at or bothered by somebody who clearly is not functioning in reality completely. There's a loss of reality in that respect, okay? If we had a president who walked up to us with a plant and put the plant next to them and said, this is my wife, Carol, if half of the country went, oh, she's so beautiful, I would fear for humanity. But I kind of feel like we're there. So I kind of feel like we're there, you know? And it's really funny how people can not see the crazy when it's someone that agrees with them or acts like them, but they can see the crazy when it's someone they disagree with. Like, it's easy for crazy people to call other people crazy when that person may be sane, they're just different than you. And they would say, well, Dan, what's the difference between you thinking somebody else is different than you and calling them crazy? Because, folks, some things are black and white. A stuffed animal is always going to be a stuffed animal. The movie Ted is not real. A stuffed animal will always be a stuffed animal. Okay? That's what it is. Now, yes, that can be a comfort thing, but here's the thing. I don't want you at 30 years old having to bring your stuffed animal into work as the CEO. Okay? There's things in life that we have to, there's things in like remember, like people have a safety blanket and whatnot, you know? So, you know, some of us have a safety blanket and you grow up with it. You got a stuffed animal, you got a safety blanket, you got something that you like, you know, that helps to give you peace. But as you get older, your parents or guardians try to phase you out of it, right? Let's not bring your teddy bear to 9th grade. Let's not bring your blanket and keep sucking your thumb in college, right? You try, but see, nowadays people, I'm so afraid to offend somebody, but they're okay offending you. Like if I told a lady with a towel, take the towel off, you're 40, knock it off. She might flip out and scream in my face. And that's okay in today's society. But it's not okay for me to go, take the towel off. Just take it off. Why you got the towel on you? What is it about? Are you Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game? No. Like, can you say, see you later, Dan, and then your tail spins, and then you go up in the air like a helicopter? No, then take it off. It looked like Tails' tail, but it wasn't. It actually didn't have two tails, so I can't really say it was Tails' tail. It was the color of Tails' tail, and it made me think of Tails' tail. And I just want to see how many times I can say Tails' tail without without messing it up, because it's not as easy. But listen, it's my annoying moment of the week because we have gotten to a place in society where like things are just factioning off and factioning off and factioning off and dividing to the point where I have no idea. Right? Like I help teach at times throughout the year. And somebody had said years ago, if you stand in front of the room and say, ladies and gentlemen, it's offensive because it doesn't include everybody in the room. Okay, I was like, ladies and gentlemen and kids. No, there's still other people because some kids think they're turtles. Some grown women think they're lions. Some grown men think they're dogs. Well, to those people, I guess I'm not speaking to you. Okay? I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. But why are we afraid to just talk? Like, we live in a free country. So if people are saying things that are absolutely insane, then, they could do what they want to do, but we can't. That's not right. That's the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And that was the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. Just... all I'm going to say is, if crazy people can scream at us and tell us that they're sane, why can't sane people say, I don't agree with it? And where do we get in society where you don't have to agree with me, but I have to agree with you? Hypocrisy is a problem in today's society. I don't want to be screamed at. I don't want to be called a name, but I'm going to do those things. Like, how is that fair? Right? You can't tell me you're discriminating against me because I wore a tail and you won't let me sit down. Like, okay, here's the thing. Let me tell you something. My dog, my little Lily, I want to bring her everywhere I go. I don't because most places don't allow animals, which, with all due respect, if you're wearing a tail, you're not allowed either. So, see what I did there? But I'm just saying. So, but most places don't allow animals unless they are a support animal. Well, nowadays, like, everything's a support animal, even when it's not. And I've been to multiple public places where somebody was bringing in a support animal that was clearly just their dog. And not saying just their dog, like a dog that's not a support dog is not. I'm just saying, like, a normal, everyday, like, this is my dog. This is not a dog that's here to, like, help me back to life if something happens and this and that. This is not a dog that was trained for whatever, And so Lily, like, I want to bring her everywhere I go. And she's very well behaved. She's more well behaved than some human beings I know, and probably most human beings that think they're animals. I'm sure she's more behaved than they are. So she can't come with me to places because she has to be a support animal, right? And if I want to do that, then, I have to get the doctor's note and get her signed off and da-da-da-da. So some people are like, why don't you just bring her? Like, people are breaking the rules. Nobody cares now. Nobody wants to offend anybody now, so just do it. I'm the type of person where in my heart, in my chest, if you got a sign on the door that I can't bring my dog in and I do it anyways, something inside of my chest is going, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to get kicked out. I don't want to break the rules. I don't want to, I don't want to cause a commotion, cause an issue. Some people don't care. I want to bring Lily everywhere I go. Trust me, if there weren't signs, I would have brought her everywhere for the last 9 years, everywhere. I would have brought her to Disney, right? And I think about when a dog is a support animal, like now, if you work at Disney, you can have a dog be with you. I guess if you have the right papers, documentation. So it's like 90 degrees, 91 degrees outside, right? When I was at Disney a couple weeks ago. And there was a cast member, female, that was working. And she had her dog, with her on the leash. And it was a golden retriever. Now, it's still 91 degrees outside, whether the dog's a support dog or not. The dog was laying in the tiny amount of shade that there was, looking like it was ready to friggin' pass out, go to sleep. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this girl better really need this dog, or else I think that this is animal cruelty. To be like, I have to have the dog everywhere I go, and the dog looks like it's going to pass out, and it's 91 degrees outside. Like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, if you have a condition, and I hope she doesn't. I would rather hope she's faking it than she actually has, like, a rare condition where she has to have, something there, because I don't want this woman to have any rare condition, because that would mean that, like, God forbid, something could happen. I don't want anything to happen to this woman. But I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if you have this dog here just because you can't function in society without the dog, because you haven't gone to therapy or you haven't worked through things, or you haven't, put the work in, and this dog is going to pass out because you decided to not take a hold of your life. Like, it just made me think about things. Like, when we see support animals, we think they're superheroes. Like, they can't get tired, they can't get thirsty, they can't get hungry. But they're still dogs. And I see this dog laying on the ground, and I think to myself, I wonder what this girl needs this dog for, because it's 91. And I never thought about that side of it. I never thought that a support animal with a Disney cast member is standing in the sun for like 9 hours, and it's still a dog, and it can still get dehydrated, and it can still pass out, and it's not healthy. So the poor dog is laying there in the shade looking not happy. Like, the dog was looking like, yeah, you know. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if this dog is over, because you got to think about it, it's a golden retriever too. A lot of fur, big dog, 60, 70 pounds maybe. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, if the dog passes out, then how can the dog be a support animal for her if she needs it, if she needs the help? Then I'm thinking, if this girl needs a support animal, maybe she just gets the lady with the tail to help her. But I think about these things that I feel like other people aren't thinking about because they don't want to offend anybody. Like, at what point is it animal cruelty that a dog's out in the sun? At what point are, you know, when a dog's barking and like nipping at people in coals, do we not say that's not a support animal? At what point do people just break the rules? And I mean, you got to think about this. My dog is extremely well behaved, and I don't break the rules with her. She's extremely well behaved, but I don't want to, I just think about like walking into Target and walking around with her, and gosh forbid she pees, or let's say she doesn't do anything. Let's say she just walks around and she's totally fine. I'm waiting for a Target worker to stop me and go, you need to leave. But people go, well, nobody's going to stop you because nobody at Target wants to get sued, and nobody at Target wants to get canceled because they're a corp. And then you're sitting here and like, so you want me to take advantage of the fact that everybody's scared in America now? Like, come on. Number one, we shouldn't be scared. And number two, like, if I'm following the rules with a well-mannered dog and you're going into Target with 3 Chihuahuas that are running in separate directions, barking and flipping out, how the heck do you not get stopped? My dog's not going to bark or bother anybody. Like, if I picked her up and put her in my backpack, she'd just put her head out of my backpack and smile at people going by and probably do nothing. People would probably want to pet her and tell me she's really sweet, you know? So I'm not saying that support animals aren't needed in certain cases. I'm just saying, like, the question of, is it actually a support animal or not? And to that cast member, I mean, Disney's got to figure that out. Because she's standing as a greeter taking your ticket coming into the park, and she has a dog that is out in 90 plus degree heat. And this is in May. It's only going to get hotter. And I'm thinking about, okay, well, I care about that woman and whatever her condition is or whatever's going on that she needs a dog, but I also care about the dog, you know? Like, do we just not care about the dog? We just care about her? Oh, well, the dog's there to serve her. What about the dog? Right? Where's PETA? Like, I'm not saying take the dog away from the girl. I'm saying come up with a better plan. Or give the girl a job where she's sitting in air conditioning so she can still work at Disney and the dog doesn't have to be in the heat, and let's do right by everybody. Like, if we're going to let this happen, then have a better system around it. Don't have people as greeters that have support animals, because that support animal is on the friggin' pavement and it's 97 degrees outside and the sun's beating in their face and there's no water dish and there's no food. And I don't know how any of that works at Disney, because we weren't even supposed to be able to, like, when I worked at Disney, I couldn't drink water or eat in front of you. So you're going to bring out bowls for the dog, but you wouldn't let the humans eat? Like, I mean, again, Disney's very different than it was. Very different. The rules I had to follow, they'd set them things on fire, I guess. But all I'm saying is, why can we... No, why can you have an opinion, but I can't have an opinion? We should be able to have opinions. If you got an opinion, I'm allowed to have an opinion too. Right? What's good for the goose, baby? And you may not agree with my opinion, but there's no way in heck that I'm putting a dog outside 91 degrees. So if I got a worker that has to have a dog with them at all times, they're working inside for the betterment of the dog. At that point, I care about the dog more than the person. Because I care about the person to let you bring the dog. But now I care about the dog over you that you're not going to be outside. It's not good for a human being to be outside in 90-degree heat, staring there, being in the sun with no lotion on and no water and this and that. So, I mean, what's the dog supposed to do? Like, you got to think about stuff. We live in this world of I don't want to offend and I don't want to offend and I don't want to offend. Okay, but what about the animal? The actual animal, not the lady pretending to be a dog, but the dog that attacked her. Like, what about the animal? Right? And if I was a dog and I saw another species trying to be me, I'd probably get pissed off too. I'd probably be like, that's enough. You can't come in this alley. Like, what was she, in the alleyway, like, eating the dog's scraps? And the dog was like, buzz off. I don't know. I'll tell you this right now. If I went in the wild and pretended to be a lion, probably going to get eaten today. So we don't want to call it crazy, but then we want to just brush aside, the fact that an actual animal might attack a fake animal. So, and if you gave a lion a stuffed animal lion and said, this is real, I think the lion would look at you like you're insane, potentially growl, maybe just turn their back and go to sleep. Because for those of you that don't know, lions sleep in the daytime. So, with that being said, let's jump into lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Like, why are we not allowed to, why are we afraid to talk about this? This stuff used to be crazy like 7 years ago. It's like literally COVID happened and the world got increasingly, COVID was like essentially the time period of the slipstream of insanity. It was like whatever was a little bit insane or whatever was a little bit accepted. Once we hit COVID, we just hit like the speed round of insanity. Like the Autobahn of weird just came right out. I don't know why. Let's talk about lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Speaking here on this acronym, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first Chick-fil-A in Central New York, and led by the fearless and wonderful and incredible and amazing hero and brother to me, owner-operator Jim Rusakowski. So, today's lead has to do with the topic, if you ask God, then listen. If you ask God, then listen. Well, what do you mean, Dan? I mean, if you're going to ask God for something, listen. So many of us pray, but we don't stop talking. God, I want this. I really want this. I want this. Did you know I wanted this? I want it. Just in case you didn't know I wanted it, I wanted it. I'm not saying don't pray and don't pray consistently. I'm saying there's this part of prayer that I have to learn too, which is called be still and know who he is. Be still and know that I am God. So Psalm 46:10. For those of you that have watched and listened to the show before, you know that I touched that a cross in my house that says that pretty much every day, multiple times yesterday. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Sometimes after we say, hey, God, can I have this? Can this work out? Can this person have this? Can this be okay? Then you got to be still. That doesn't mean stop living. It doesn't mean stop moving. It means trust him. That's how I interpret it and how I understand it. It means trust the Lord. Be still and know who I am. You have asked me. Now let me answer. You can't hear my answer unless you stay quiet. We live in a world of settling because we don't want to be alone. We want to keep up with the Joneses. We want to have a certain lifestyle. So we will do things and be in places and be in relationships that maybe aren't fruitful. But we just don't want to wait. You know? We take it into our own hands. God, I asked you for it. You didn't give it to me, so I'm going to go get it myself. And how many times does that work out? Where we say to God, I'm going to do it without you. We'll see how it goes. Some people will say, well, Dan, some of those people are millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires. Some of those people get away with murder, get away with everything. They're beautiful. They're handsome. I would say to you, okay, material things can't take to heaven. Beauty fades. Tell me what else they got. They got a good soul? Are they sinless? Do they minimize their sin over time? Do they apologize? Do they repent? Do they pray? Do they worship? Do they go to church or synagogue or temple or mosque or wherever? When we talk to God, do we listen? Because, again, I'm guilty of this too. It is not a one-sided conversation when you talk to God. It is not a one-sided conversation. When we talk to him and it's like, hey, what's up? I'm going to say a bunch of stuff and you're going to sit there and listen, God. And then God says, maybe God goes, okay, but then when is it God's turn to talk to you? Do we listen? Do we hear him? Do we even know his voice? God's not going to come to you in a giant, booming way, necessarily. He may come to you in a whisper. But are you quiet enough to hear it? You got to turn everything down to hear it. You might not be able to hear God if you're watching the game and, you know, you're playing your music loud and you're doing this and you're doing that. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. But we ask for God to put everything aside to pay attention to us. And how often do we do that for him? How often do we put everything aside to hear him? How often do we pray to God, put our phone down? Pray to God, turn the TV off. Pray to God, put the iPad, whatever. How often do we talk to God and give him what we ask him to give us? People that don't understand God, they go, well, you know, I asked for all the stuff and da-da-da-da-da, and I demanded da-da-da-da-da, but what did you give him? What did you give him? Did you listen? Did you talk to him and listen? Or did you just talk? Did you put your phone down? Did you stop multitasking? Did you just be in the moment? See, back in the day when you prayed, what else did you have to do? Pray and work. Pray, work, and eat. Pray, work, eat, sleep. Right? If you were here when Jesus was walking this earth as a human being, here with us, divine and human, if you were here back then, you were doing a chore / working or eating or sleeping. There was no phones. There were no computers. There was no iPads. I know people that were born into technology would be like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. But it wasn't. They got by, or else we wouldn't have gotten here. There was a time where silence happened more often because there were no TVs, there were no radios, there was no internet, there were no computers, there were no phones. There were no vehicles. You had to Unless you wanted to walk somewhere. I mean, you didn't know where somebody was unless you saw them. You had to go to their house. You had to knock on the door. You had to hope that they answered. You had to hope that they were available to talk with you. I wonder what this world would be like if we took 100 people in 2026 and dropped them in 20 AD. If we went back 2006 years. 2,000 years. What would those people do? Because if you can learn how to pray and sit in silence in today's world, you could have done it back then easily. Today it's harder to do because today there's more to take your focus. And again, the devil lives in the gray. The devil lives in the I want you to focus on anything but God. Start to pray. Oh, there's my TV show. Start to pray. Ooh, that girl texted me. He wants you to turn your focus. And it's not even like you're to focus on a bad thing. It could be a very good thing. But God is like, talk to me. And the devil's like, read this email first. And I'm a culprit of this. I woke up this morning. I grabbed my phone. What I should have done, name of the Father and of the Son, and name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for waking up Lily. Thank you for waking up my friends that I have gotten, that are already up or whatever. I mean, I knew that because I looked at my phone that some of my friends were alive and well. So let me backtrack. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you for waking Lily up. Please wake up my mom, my dad, all my loved ones, my brothers, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, my godson. Please wake up everyone and all of our loved ones. May we be safe and sound and together. May we be well and get well and stay well either way. So may we be well. If we're not well, may we get well. And either way, may we stay well. Today, tonight, and so on. May the day be long. May the day, the night, and so on be long, fun, and go by slowly. May we have a beautiful, wonderful day. May we get closer to you. May we be healthy, safe, and happy, filled with all of your most precious gifts, to do your will and to be well, but to put your will even over us being well. But may they go hand in hand. And whether we're traveling, staying put, or both, may our day, night, and so on be beautiful and wonderful. May we be safe and sound with our loved ones, even in death, because dying you destroyed our death, Jesus, and rising you restored our life. So may our loved ones that have passed on, including those that have passed on today, may they be safe and sound in heaven with you and with all their loved ones. May we be safe and sound here on earth with our loved ones. And may we get closer and closer to you every millisecond of a millisecond until we're with you fully in heaven like they are. May we all be connected through you, Lord, even in death, like I said. May we heal completely and for good. And no matter what, Lord, may we heal through you. And may we handle well whatever comes our way in and out of our control. May we handle it all well. And help us to see our blessings, to appreciate them, to know who our Maker is, and no matter how loud the world gets, may we hear your voice, know the distinctness of it, know when it's you and when it's not, even if it's but a whisper in a world full of screams. In Jesus' most precious name, we thank you, we love you, we appreciate you, and help me to know how to serve you today, and guide us to you, and guard us from everything that's not. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Then I can get my phone. Okay? Pray. Listen. Do it without your phone. Do it without your phone. Without your TV. Without your computer. Without your tablet. Without having another conversation. Go pray to God. If I'm praying at a table and somebody got up and left, I pray for them. but I'm not going to stop praying. If I pray at the table and you leave, see you later. Or see you never. But I'll pray for you. Because if praying offends you, I can't imagine that anything doesn't. Or that it's opposite day. And maybe sin makes you feel good and goodness offends you. But I will never stop praying. I just have to put the phone away, pray, then go to the phone. And I have to listen. Because, again, we all pray, but how many of us sit there and say, okay, God, I'm all done. What do you have to say to me? And maybe that's how we should end our prayers now. God, I've said what I wanted to say. Now what would you like to say to me? In Jesus' name I wait patiently. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you all. We'll take a step aside. We'll come back with the top dog of the week and Ross Turetsky right after this.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And, of course, you can also find them online all the time by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. With that being said here, we are in our next portion of today's broadcast as we bond Thursday's show with Friday's show of the segments, the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. Lead, which is Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Top Dog of the Week, which we're about to do, presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. We're putting them all together this week as I have a special that will broadcast tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for you, as I will be having surgery tomorrow. So that's why we bonded these together, so that you can get all of this in one broadcast, so we don't miss anything this week, and so I can, focus on taking care of my health and wellness above all things, which is the most important under God, to take care of yourself and make sure that you're helping others. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and I appreciate y'all for understanding, and I have a great special, never before seen, that's going to air tomorrow morning, but I wanted to make sure that I was live with you today to bring you all these pieces. So before we bring Ross on, we're going to do the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, and K-9 Kamp is a wonderful, wonderful place to go. 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. You could get more information by going to K-9 Kamp.com. That's K-9 Kamp.com for more information. You can visit them at 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, and it is right across from BJ's, right off the highway. You can see it from the highway, just a couple steps from Erie Boulevard, and very centrally located. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, the place to bring your dog for daily care every single week. So with that being said, my top dog of the week, it has to be everybody that came together to give us the Super Field of Dreams. Everyone. No matter who you are, what you donated, be it time, money, energy, if you are doing something on the political side of things, if you're doing something on the schematic side of things, on the building side of things, the construction side of things, if you were somebody that was building the blueprint, working on the plan, what it was going to look like, what it was going to feel like, those that are coaching, those that are directing, those that are helping to produce the elements that were needed, and of course, the athletes that it was made for. The Super Field of Dreams and Syracuse Challenger Baseball, helping people of all ages with special needs to play a sport that they love, and to be a part of a team and a part of a family, and to fill a void that a lot of us, I feel like everyone at some point in your life, you should be a part of a team. It may be your family, maybe mom and dad, maybe your closest friends, maybe your kids and your wife, or your kids and your husband. It may just be your spouse. It may be your actual physical team. But I feel like we all, in some way, shape, or form, should be surrounded by a fantastic team. So today, I want to applaud, appreciate, respect, and spotlight a fantastic team in those that helped to bring Syracuse Challenger baseball to life, and those that have brought the Super Field of Dreams to life for every child, regardless of need, regardless of what's going on, to have a baseball tournament going on that, let's say, a high school is playing, and we have Syracuse Challenger baseball on the next field. Those with special needs and those who do not have special needs will be playing back-to-back, side by side. Here's a field of a soccer tournament. Here's a field of a softball tournament. Here's a field of a baseball tournament. Here's Syracuse Challenger baseball's tournament. Not only is there a place for those with special needs, but it's not like special needs over here, everybody else over here. The Super Field of Dreams is everyone in the same place, under one sun, under one God, as one people, one community. And to everybody that made that possible, you're my top dogs of the week. God bless to you and to your mission, and may it be even greater than you could have even imagined, because God's plan is even better than ours. Shout out to my top dogs of the week, those that brought us Syracuse Challenger baseball, and those that just helped us open here in 2026, officially on May 16th, the Super Field of Dreams at Carrier Park in Central New York. With that being said, my guy is here with me on the other side, and we're bringing him in here in just a moment. There he is. Look at him. He has another action figure for us today. Is that the one I got you? That's the one I got you.
The Turbo Man, Jamie! Jamie's in the house today. It is the Schwarzenegger and things of that nature. We're going to fight the Sinbad for that Turbo Man doll. You got to do it for Jamie. Do it now, not later. Do it now, Dan. Good luck with your surgery and speedy recovery, my buddy.
Thank you, brother. So that coming from Ross Turetsky here with us on the broadcast. Happy to be here, hanging out where sports meets life with Ross. And am I surprised? No. But I bought him that Turbo Man. So that was from me to him.
He's proud on my desk. This is my office desk with the DJ Roscoe Sports Show banner in the background. He's on my desk. So every day when I go on this desk, when I do work, I see him. When I write my sports articles, I see him. When I do a sports show, I see him. So I think of you, buddy, and I think of Turbo Man. So it's very happy memories and thoughts.
Well, I appreciate that. When I find my stack of movies that include the Punisher Warzone, I think about you. And so what Ross and we need to reinstigate this. This needs to be reinstated. It needs to come back into the world. Ross and I, for a couple years, we're buying each other. And for those of you that don't know, Ross is a fellow sportscaster and writer, but more importantly to me, he's my brother. Ross and I, for a couple years, were...
Oh, the crappiest DVDs we could find in like the used like $1 or $5 bin at Walmart. We had so many DVDs. I have them somewhere in a storage unit that I'm paying rent for and I don't even use. And it's like $100 a month. It's like giving it away for charity to a storage unit just so it can hold my DVDs, because for the time being, we just stream everything and we have no use for them. But I don't want to give them all away, and I can't find a happy home. I'd like to make some money off of them. So they're just in a storage tote, a bunch of DVDs. Some good ones, some very crappy ones. Some Punisher Warzones and Alamo movies are thrown in there, or Batman AD with Coke Zero planes and Vin Diesel doing crazy adventures in the future with Gerard Depardieu. But we have them all. If anyone wants to buy them, contact me after the show. I'll hook you up.
And I will say this. I keep all my DVDs and CDs because with everything that this world does to try and control and manipulate through algorithms and all this stuff, I want to have the rights to my own collection and to be able to do what I want to do.
Frustrated. Besides the technology, like the corporate, they fight over it, they lose the rights. But like even like my wife likes to watch as her comfort movie, You've Got Mail. It's a good rom-com, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks and a young Dave Chappelle back in the day.
Yeah.
But the movie is like on Netflix for a few weeks, then they take it away, and then you look for it, even though it's a movie that came out in 98, 28 years ago, almost 3 decades ago, and they're like, even though we have like every streaming service, like 20 streaming services, they're like, oh yeah, you could rent it for $4. I'm like, we have the DVD.
It was just free.
It was free on Netflix just 2 weeks ago, and now it just was on Netflix. They pulled it at the end of April 30th, they pulled it, and now it's gone, and you have to pay for it. And then probably maybe 6 months from now, it'll be back for free on Netflix, but then they'll take it away, and whenever you want to watch it as her little lullaby, to go to sleep and drift off, and her comfort food, or comfort bedtime story, it will be taken away and we'll have to pay for it again. At least if you have the DVD in your possession, you can watch it and pop it in whenever you want. But right now, they control it, and no matter how many streaming services you have, they find a way to take it away at a moment's notice. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan's always talking about it. Yes, he to keep movies alive and all that, but he's like, I like the tangible copy of a movie rather than worry about what's streaming. And he's like, as long as he has any power in saying, as long as his movies make money and get nominated, win Oscars like Oppenheimer or The Dark Knight, he's like, not going to put a movie just strictly on a streaming service. He refuses to do it. It has to be in a movie theater because that's how movies were meant to be seen.
Well, and and my thing is, I keep it. Like I want control of it for that reason that you brought up with your wife Abby. Is that I don't want you to control me to be like, it's free.
Yeah.
And we got him to watch it for 2 weeks, and now we're going to say, because that's happened to me before with I want to say it's happened with multiple movies, like 3 or 4 movies, where the movie was free, it was free, I looked it up, it was free, I watched it, it was free, I watched it 2 weeks later, it was free, And then I'm like, you know what? I want to go back and watch like Wedding Crashers. And then all of a sudden, you can't find it anywhere, and it's $7, and you got to pay for it. And then all of a sudden, it's back. Then there's another movie that I looked up and I watched once, and 3 days later, now you have to pay for it. And it's like, this movie was on Netflix. Now it's not available. Now it's not free. Now it's on Amazon Prime. Now I can't find this one. And I can't tell you, multiple times it has happened to me where I've watched a movie and I genuinely feel like the streaming service with anything has an algorithm, and they go, this is where he likes to go. This is what he likes to watch. This is the time of year he likes to watch it. So let's take it. It was right here. It was just here. And let's move it around and let's put it on the streaming service he doesn't have. He's got 7 of them, but he doesn't have this one. So, they'll put it on an obscure thing. They'll move it. So here's my thing. I don't want to be manipulated and coerced and pushed into spending money I don't need to spend. So my collection of DVDs and my favorite movies, and having almost every single Marvel movie, and having the Ninja Turtle movies, and having, a lot of the DC movies and whatnot, and, having a bunch of the comedies that I love and movies I grew up with as a kid, because I have all those on DVD, when you try to do what you do to me, streaming services, I always get to go, oh, I got your ass. So that's why I keep it. That's why I do it.
Absolutely. I remember just, I think it was last year, you kept looking around for Uncut Gems, the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
It's a crazy wild ride.
I had to wait like 6 months for Netflix to get it. So
it was just on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I gave you the code. I was willing to share, but they keep trying to take it away. Like, oh, you're not in Syracuse, so they like to spy on you. Even though I used to give all my codes away, and I worst criminal in the world. I'm the new John. I don't know. I guess they'll arrest me for that. So I would give away the codes, and then I would do that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it was a great movie. I wanted you to see it, and I gave it to you, and then you're like, it's not there. It doesn't exist there. So they would take it away. Netflix, and they took it away, and you just kept looking for Uncut Gems. Don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but they kept taking it every time you wanted to see this movie.
Yeah, I finally got to. So, yeah, and here's the thing too. Like, so Ross and I will both be using like a streaming service, right? And this is where, and I said this earlier in the week, and I'll say it again. I am a proponent of do not do the household, because what if you are a parent and your child graduates high school and goes to college? Congratulations, happy graduation. You have to pay for your own Netflix now, and your HBO Max, and your Disney Plus. Like, why? So, I mean, it's a household. So this is how I look at it, okay? When Lorelai and LJ grow up, they've been in this house with you and Abby for their whole life. When they grow up and they go off to school, they're still a dependent. They're still under you. They're still your children. Even if they're not on your insurance someday at 25 years old or whatever, they're still your kids. So that is, to me, a household. They don't have to physically be in the house to be the household. Well, let's talk about Ross and I and HBO Max, okay? There's 4 profiles.
Yeah.
Ross, me, his wife, and her dad.
Yeah.
That's it. So those are the 4 that are on there. I am a proponent of, you don't have to be in the same house, because what if I'm down in Florida and my mom is in New York and I'm traveling to Florida to do work and she's at home in Syracuse and we're both on the same Netflix? There's only 2 of us. There's nobody else. We have shared it with nobody else. There's just 2, but I can't watch it in Florida unless she stops watching it in New York. That's not fair to my mom. So I am a proponent of, do not do the household garbage, because not everybody's in the house. What if a kid just wants to watch Netflix when he's waiting for his flight at the airport? What if Abby has to go somewhere and Ross isn't going? And they're 2 hours apart. Why can't they watch it? So let's get rid of the household streaming services, and let's do the cap out at profile. So on HBO Max,
I'm annoyed that I get kicked out of like my own Disney Plus. Like, even in our own house, we're all together. I like watch that the kids get into like relive a lot of the shows of our youth, like Darkwing Ducks, things like that. The kids recently got into like the original Full House, and then they watched this film Fuller House. So they were showing Danny Tanner, Joey, Jesse and Joey, and all the great, the characters. They love them now, and it's as fresh to them as ever. And I get to rewatch it and enjoy it through their eyes. I grew up on Full House, so they were watching on Disney Plus. They both were watching in different parts. They're both watching their tabs. Then I'm trying to watch a Hulu thing on Disney Plus. But because 2 things are streaming at the same time, they're like, 2 can go, but 3 can go. I pay for the highest. Same thing with Netflix. I pay for the highest threshold for the most screens possible, and they kick me out of my own Disney Plus. They're like,
in your house.
You can get a different Disney Plus account. They're in the house. They're watching tablet. They're like, there's too many streaming services. 2 are at the same time. 3 cannot. So 3 strikes, you're out. I get kicked out of my own streaming service. I have to wait for my kids to go to bed, which times in the summertime not until like 9, 10 o'clock. They're up late watching these shows, and I have to wait till they're asleep, and I'm already half asleep because I'm almost 40 years old. I'm ready to pass out going, and by the time I'm ready to watch my show, I'm out, I'm asleep, and then the next day, I get kicked out again from my own Disney Plus. And I pay for the service. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So, to me, again, if it's your family, okay, in the household, okay, let me put it to you like this. Stop doing the household garbage because not everybody lives in the same house. People move, things happen, whatever, okay? Now, and I'm going to put it to you like this. When my ex-wife and I broke up, she was using my Roku for like a year, and I didn't even know. She was going on all the apps. So she says to me, she's like, did you just log out of Roku? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, seriously? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, really, Dan? We're going to go there? And I was like, what is happening? You don't care that you cheated on me and abandoned your life, but you care about Roku. So I was like, so what are we talking about here? And she's like, well, because you signed out, I have to build an entire Roku by myself. And I was like, well, I have to build a life post you as well. And I also have to pay all the bills that you were also helping me pay. So I think your problem's not really a problem. And my thing is not really a problem. It's more of an opportunity.
But it's Roku, Dan. Roku is life. Life is Roku. We need a Roku.
But I think back
to
that. Right, and I think back to that time, right? And I think back to all those bills and all that stuff, and like my bills overnight almost doubling. And what did Ross say? He was like, hey, here, take a couple of the streaming service things, utilize those because you got enough you're paying for, so don't worry about it. So the olive branch of a friend, if he did it today, couldn't work. And then not only that, I look at this and say, the one benefit was if my ex-wife and I got divorced now, she would have automatically not been able to use it because she's out of my household. But here's the thing. And she told me this over a year later. She's like, your credit card's still on here and I can see it. I'm like, why would you have not have told me that when you left? You know what I mean? So then you go and you check and you make sure, you got to make sure everything's okay. And luckily it was. But
no expenditures were made that you didn't know about.
No, there was no she had a mink coat on Instagram, which I know she didn't buy, but maybe I did. But luckily I did not.
I hope not.
I didn't buy a mink. I would never buy a mink coat. Shout out PETA. What's up? So, but my life of the streaming service, my experience with it. The best thing that I can tell you is if I'm on the profile, I shouldn't be logged out. Like I'm one of 4 people on HBO Max with Ross. That's it. There's 4 of us. My mom and I, the only 2 on Netflix. So to kick my mom out, if she leaves my home and drives 20 minutes to another part of New York, is insane. Just as much as it's insane that I have to roll the dice every day in hopes that Ross, his children, and his wife will be asleep so that I have the fighting chance of watching Lanterns when it comes out on HBO Max.
We got to make schedules, like a bathroom schedule if you have a roommate. You have to have streaming schedules. Like, I have this time, 3 to 4 p.m. I have late night if you're a single and you're up late, 12 to 1 a.m. while everyone's asleep. You got to make schedules or else it's not going to work. But like I said, I feel the same way because I need schedules and wait for my kids to go to bed or else the services that I pay for, I cannot enjoy until they're asleep. And by then, I'm ready to go to sleep because I'm too old for this garbage. As they used to say back then, I'm too old for this SHIT. I can't handle this up as late as I used to be. Or else I feel hungover the next morning.
But here's the thing, too. Ross is a night owl. I'm a night owl.
Yes.
And as much as we try not to be, we still message each other at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I know we're up.
And I still be up at like 7 o'clock in the morning to be with the kids and get them off to school. Even in the summer, figure out what we're going to do for the day and walk the dog and all that. And Haley just had her first birthday yesterday. We had a cute little tutu on her and birthday crown and all that stuff. So like, whether I'm up till 2 a.m., I still have to be up 5 hours later at 7 a.m. That doesn't change.
And a happy birthday to your puppy. And do not make them a Netflix profile, because then poor girl won't be able to watch. So, I mean, but this, it got to the most egregious when my mom was like, we're going to get a Netflix. Let's just get a Netflix. And I'm like, all right. And it's just me and her. And she doesn't watch it all the time, and I don't watch it all the time. So it's sitting there idle most of the time. But when I can watch TV, which is usually later at night, or my mom middle of the day, because she works a different schedule than I do, and she works like overnights. So she's literally getting up to go to work when I'm probably still awake. So we're not watching at the same time. And it was working for a while. And then my mom and I, this is what makes no sense. It was working fine, 20 minutes apart, just the two of us on Netflix. Then we went down to Florida together. I did a Mother's Day week instead of a day with my mom. We went down to Florida. We're together in the same place. And we logged in Florida. And ever since we logged in Florida and logged out, ever since we logged in Florida and we came home, I go on Netflix and they go, yeah, you don't live in that household. And I'm like, boo thang. We were just down in Florida. We didn't live in that household either. So like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. And there's only two of us. Nobody else knows. Now the world knows that I have a Netflix, Mom and I. But no one knows our Netflix. None of it.
These billion-dollar corporations, they need that money. You two people sharing it together are going to screw up their making ends meet.
But how does that make, like, how is mother and child any different than father and daughter, or husband and wife, or girlfriend and boyfriend? You know what I mean? Like, if you're a girlfriend and boyfriend and you go, let's, before we get a couch together, before we get an apartment together, before we make a baby together, let's get a Netflix together and let's start small. And then he goes back to his apartment and he can't watch it because they logged in at the first time on her email, on her TV. By the way, why are we living in America right now where people are more apt to do the thing and have a baby than they are to share a Netflix password? Can we flip the script on that? Can we start small with Netflix, then maybe get a couch, then maybe, think about this and that, and then the baby? I feel like nowadays, because me as a single man, the woman's like, she's more apt to be like, hey, let's go to town and make baby, but she won't let me get her Apple TV password, which
that's too intimate. The sex is not intimate, I guess. And sharing a streaming service is true intimacy in 2026.
Wait, let me tell you something, Ross. They're willing to share a streaming service that's not on Roku.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll tell.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know, it's tough out there, but I'm like, I guess that's that.
But can you imagine? You want me to be, intimately connected to you, but I can't get your Netflix password.
Special hug. They rather share a special hug than share Netflix with you. That's what you're trying to say.
And this is what I will say.
Your feelings have been hurt.
I'll tell you this. I went on 4 dates with this one girl years ago. So the statute of limitations is over. I can say this. So I went on a date for...
Say the name. We want to know all about it. Spill the tea.
So it was a bunch of years ago, and we went out on 4 dates, and I quickly kind of realized we don't want the same things. Nice girl.
Her name is Britney Spears. She throws knives up in the air on YouTube. I'm just guessing who the name could be.
Yeah. So she, we went on a couple, and I'm like, we don't want the same things. And I felt like she was very opinionated, where I'm very low key. And I feel like I get taken advantage of a lot, because when you date nowadays, women and men probably do this too. I don't do this, but I can't speak to other men, whether they do or not. But a lot of women I've dated, they have their life. And then they want to date a man who fits perfectly into their schedule. If you don't fit in, then you can't date them, because their schedule matters, yours does not. And because I'm more low key, like, I will adjust more than maybe the women I've dated will adjust. And maybe that's the same for some women out there that are listening and watching right now. They're like, oh my gosh, men are doing that too. And I don't know why people are doing that nowadays. But anyways, I digress. So she was kind of like in her own world, and she wanted what she wanted, and I wanted what I wanted, and I didn't think it was going to work out. But she came over the house one day, and she put on her Apple TV Plus password, and she logged in, and she's like, I went to her house first, and we watched Ted Lasso, and I'd never seen it.
Comes back and get ready. Finally, long-awaited season 4, 3 years later. I'm very pumped for Ted Lasso.
Yeah, so I can't wait. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was AI. But, so she introduced me to Ted Lasso, and I fell in love with the show.
Yeah, great.
And then she came to the house, and she logged in on my TV, and we watched it here. And so now I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in, and I'm hooked. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. And and so
you gotta make the relationship last long enough so you can see the full 3 seasons, or else you're screwed. You're stuck unless you're gonna pay for your own streaming service for Apple TV. You gotta see it to completion to see how the story ends, at least for now.
So it's Sunday morning, years ago.
Yeah.
I wake up, or I'm laying in bed. It's Sunday morning. It's 10 o'clock, and I go to watch Ted Lasso with Lily in the bed.
Ooh.
And it says you've been logged out. And I texted her, and I said, "Did you log out of Apple TV before you left my house?" Because I didn't see her do it. She must have done it when I was in the bathroom, or I have no idea. So I'm like, "Did you log out?" She goes, "I woke up this morning and she logged out from her house." So she goes, "I woke up and I logged out. I woke up and I logged out." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, my family's on that Apple TV, and I couldn't have you watching stuff and them questioning it because we all watch the same stuff, and they would know I don't watch certain things." I'm like, "But I'm only watching Ted Lasso. I don't even know anything else that's on Netflix, and I'm not watching anything nefarious."
I think there's X-rated pornography on Apple TV. I watch Apple TV. I don't think that's on there, so I don't know what would be so embarrassing that the family would question, "Are you watching?"
Well, and that's the thing. The women that I've dated, they watch these true crime stuff with their tiny, less than 10-year-old children about murders and rapes and child molesters.
Very violent.
So if you're watching that with your kids, and I'm watching Winnie the Pooh, I think I'm okay. But so I'm watching Ted Lasso, and I said to her, I go, "You deleted the password?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Wait, is that why you called me? Is that why you're dating me?" And I'm like, "No." And then 20 minutes later, just messing around, I said, "But not nothing. Before we get off the phone, can I get that password?" She didn't give it to me.
Phone call went click, end the relationship, and we'll never know anymore about the Crusades' glorious relationship of Dan and this undisclosed lady.
Well, I can tell you this. We weren't going anywhere fast. We went on 4 dates. She was nice. We're just different.
You had to stretch it out so you could see the end of the series. You had to make it last. Binge watch that. Well, she kept logging you out, so that kind of screws up the plan. Well, then hang out at her house while it's still on and make sure it lasts long enough so you can see the end of that series.
What I was going to do is I was going to do a say anything moment, and I was going to go to her house, and I was going to pick up a boombox playing the Ted Lasso theme song so that she could know that our love was real.
Yes. There's a lot of good shows on there. Owen Wilson has a fun golf show called Stick. Watch that. There's a lot of going. Shrinking with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. Highly recommend. Apple TV's got some good shows. So I don't know. Maybe the future Mrs. Tortora. Maybe you gotta find someone else with an Apple TV password. She lets you share it with you, then your love is real. Let's go for it.
It's kind of like if a girl stays over at your house and she falls asleep, and it logs you, and you were logged in downstairs, but you're not logged in on the upstairs TV. You open up her eye just enough.
Yeah, you were one of those crazy military facilities. You get access to Roswell to see the aliens where they're hiding them in New Mexico. You got to get their eyeball, their fingerprint, and let them into that undisclosed place. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. See, I say these things joking, but some woman out there is like, he actually did. I've never done that. So, like, I've never.
You could have another spin-off show for your Dan Tortora media company. You could have a dating show all about the crazy escapades of Dan Tortora and the ups and downs of dating in this world and being single in 2026.
Yeah.
I see it. That I think that would be very entertaining for people.
I might call an episode, what am I supposed to do about my Netflix show, which is about when you break up and somebody had the rights to the streaming service, because that's a real problem. And I think a lot of people would listen to that episode, because you might date a girl, gentlemen, or ladies, you might date a guy, and he has Netflix, you have Disney Plus Hulu. When you break up, your favorite show's on Disney Plus, he's been binging Netflix. What are you supposed to do? So, that's the real... By the way, also on the other side of it, I dated a girl, and she had 2 kids, and she lived down in Florida. So, like, she was at work, I had met the kids, whatever, so I'm sitting with them, and, we're hanging out, we're watching a show at the house, waiting for her to get out of work, and so they're like, hey, and it was taking forever to pick a show, and for whatever reason, like, her and the kids loved watching massacre, violent, murderous movies. Now that I've mentioned her not by name, but she's going to know that I summoned her, she's going to rise out of her coffin and text me and tell me to not say anything else. But so she did notoriously call me over 30 times one day because she thought I was talking about her on a show, and she asked me to take the video down. She called me 30 times within an hour.
Get ready for another 30 phone calls. From surgery tomorrow, get ready for 30 phone calls. Maybe a date next week when you're fully healed. That's it. This will rekindle the romance. Love, it might be back. You speak to her, she'll rise again.
It's funny, though. When I speak of, I want a woman who is kind and gentle, believes in God, is nurturing and affectionate, never shows up. But if I talk about a demon, it conjures itself. So once I will...
Works.
But I will say this. So I'm sitting at the house with the kids, and, they're, like, older. Like, I think the oldest was, I want to say he was, like, 16, and the other one was, like, 12 or 14.
Like 5-year-olds. I'm like, shouldn't they be watching, like, Bluey or something? Why the heck are they watching, like, murder and violence stuff?
Yeah, so we're sitting at the house, and they go, wait, I think we still have Disney Plus. So they go and they go into Disney Plus, and I see this guy's name, like Justin. And I go, who the hell is that? And then the kids get really quiet.
Oh, no.
And they look at me, and they go, oh, that's Mommy's old boyfriend. Yeah, she told you about him. And then I texted her, and I was like, why do you still have his Disney Plus? And then she's like, you weren't supposed to see that. And then looking at the rest of everything that went on in that relationship, she was probably dating more than me. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to say probably, but there's a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach I still get when I think about that. So I don't know if Justin was gone. Hopefully he was. But,
Justin was in the rotation. That's what it's like to me. They were actively sharing a streaming service. So that seems a little close right there.
They were, again, actively sharing more than one streaming service. And so I wasn't supposed to see it. And then the kids, instead of logging on to his password or his profile, they created a profile to let him know that they were there. And I'm like, yeah, so this definitely is probably her husband that she took the ring off or something like that. Because, like, why would you go on his thing and create it and let him know that you're there? And so I go back to that moment. By the way, Justin, if you weren't dating her and doing something dirty in the background, she got your Disney Plus, bro. But I mean, it was such that's like when you go in there and you see that, you're like, how? And again, not the same household, so I don't know how that was working out. Or maybe it was the same household. I don't know. But those moments, I'm telling you this right now, like they say, when a girl or a guy goes to like one of your friends' houses and they automatically get logged on to the Wi-Fi, that's like when you go to a girl or a guy's house and the streaming service has somebody's name on it and it's logged in. You may have to ask a few more questions because that might not be the first time or the only time that Justin been in that house. That's what I would say.
I agree. Again, I can see a spinoff. I like get that dating show going, get guys and girls perspectives. I think single people, even married people or people with committed relationships would be very intrigued to hear your perspective and other people's perspectives on all these matters. Modern day dating in 2026, I think it'd be very interesting, especially in this technology world and all the obsession with the phone, tablets, the streaming services, how it has changed from people who've been together for 20 years and now if they were getting back in the game or if they just looking at a friend's life, what it's like to date in this day and age.
Technology will out you, folks. It outed her. So technology will out you. You weren't supposed to see that. Probably not the thing to text back to me. And I was like, who is he? No response. And I'm like, this girl always like crazy texts me 500 words a millisecond. And when I was like, who is Justin? She's like, we'll talk about it later. I'm like, and then we never talked about it. So like,
in a perfect world, you, this lady, Justin, and your puppy will all go see the new Spider-Man or Avengers movie later this year, and it will be a glorious time. You guys are going to live a great kumbaya life with all these glorious people, and the main glue will be Justin. Justin, I believe in you. You're going to make it happen. You're going to bring these people together, and you're going to be a very loving relationship. It might be like Mormon wives. It might be like everyone's together, but I can see this. Justin, the glue that's going to get this relationship going. Whoever you are, Justin. Call Dan after the show.
Call Dan and let's share stories, Justin. But here's the thing, okay? And this is God's humor. You said that we would all go together to see the Spider-Man movie. What did her children create as their profile picture on Disney Plus? Spider-Man.
It was destined. It was written in the stars. And I'll do another segue. He's going to be in it, but probably not as violent. You gotta watch that Punisher, the special presentation, The Last Kill. Watched it the other night. Don't watch it with the children. It is super violent. It is glorious. John Bernthal knocks it out of the park. He's gonna have a role in the new Spider-Man movie. They gotta continue on with the Punisher show or do more one of these one-off specials because it's badass. He's killing bad guys left and right. He at times wants to take his own life.
Kind of gave him a movie, right? Kind of gave him an hour movie, a 47-minute movie. By the way, Ross, not to interrupt, keep where we're at in this. I just want to let people know it was a lie. It was not, just like I called it, it was not one last kill. He killed, somebody recorded the numbers. Technically, if you include the guy that the other guy pushed off the building that fell onto the scaffolding that he moved for because he could have let the guy fall on him and save his life. Technically, if you include that guy, he killed 100 people in that 47 minutes.
That's what I was about to guesstimate, about 100 people. And it's glorious because then it even talks about mental health. He's a former military guy. He's lost his wife and daughter. He sees the dead. I don't want to give it too much away, but he sees his dead daughter as a ghost, and he loses the will to live. He wants to take his own life. So at the end of the show, I thought it was going to be an end credit scene to set something up, or have say, Punisher will return in the new Spider-Man movie. It actually had a mental health hotline and saying, "We're here for you. If you need help, call this number." And there was an email address and a phone number. So it was glorious violence, great revenge, but also had a very heartfelt message, especially for people who've gone through a lot of stuff, who've lost loved ones, or people in the military dealing with PTSD. And I really highly recommend it. But psychologically, the mental anguish he was going through and the violence, it was glorious. It's about 50 minutes long. You won't regret it. I watched this 2 nights ago. I made sure the kids were asleep. The Disney Plus was finally available to watch because I was getting kicked out. Plus, again, don't watch this with children.
Was Justin on the Disney Plus, or were you able to watch it?
I didn't see it, but if Justin's around, hey, if you want to come around, Justin, let's watch it again one night. It's a glorious show. Justin's going to be the new go-to guy. He's going to watch all the shows with us. But it is a great show, and I got to see more of Punisher now. Got to get more of John Bernthal in. He knocks it out of the park, everything he does, so make sure to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Punisher. Those of you that know me, I have a Punisher watch. I have 4 Punisher t-shirts. I have a Punisher sweatshirt, and I now have a Punisher rain jacket. And
this is the best version of it, because they've made some mediocre to crappy movies and things of the Punisher. This is definitely the best version of the Punisher we've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite was back in 2004 with Thomas Jane.
John Travolta
Yeah.
was the bad.
Yeah. So Thomas Jane, Howard Saint he was. But Thomas Jane was my
That was pretty good.
Yeah, he was my favorite Punisher. But John Bernthal, I just feel connected to him. You know, I just you just like you find yourself like there's something about the Punisher character. And so Ross, I didn't tell you this. I'm going to tell you this when I tell the world right now.
I've been a fan of his since I saw him as Shane in The Walking Dead. Like, once he left after season 2, The Walking Dead was okay, but it was not the same show anymore. Like, he was such a cool character. You loved to either root for him or hate him. And to this day, everything he's in. There's another thing on Netflix. His and Hers with Tessa Thompson, John Bernthal came out
very good.
Great show.
Very good.
Again, I won't spoil it. I as much as I like spoiling, you will never guess who the killer is until at the end when you see it. Can I
tell you?
You'll be blown away who the killer is at the end of that.
I guessed it.
I never guessed that.
I guessed it, and my mom had already seen it, and my mom was like, "How?" Yeah. I said, "You got to go to the person that you suspect the least," and she was. There was a list of like 2 people I had, and they were one of the 2 people, and my mom was like, "How did you figure that out?"
Of the show. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? And then the show just rolls credits. Like, again, that's another great.
Then there's a twist to the twist because at the end of it, there's another person where you're like, wait a second, are they cool with the fact that this person did this? So it's like a really weird.
They are. My guess is I think they actually are cool with it.
It's kind of like Inception. Is the top spinning or is it not spinning? But let me go back to John Bernthal for a second, and let me go to Marywood University, or not John Bernthal. Let me go to the Punisher at Marywood University because this will hit you a certain way when I tell the world and you at the same time. So, I've always felt connected to the Punisher, and Ross can tell you, I am one of the most nonviolent people that you will meet. I don't hit people. I've been in one fight my whole life, 5th grade. Kid was bullying me, bullying other people. I was tired of it. He pushed me against a locker. I punched him in the face. I was just as surprised as he was. So that's the only fight that I've ever been in. So let's fast forward to Marywood University. So we're at Marywood. Ross is a year behind me. And the Punisher comes out, Thomas Jane. And I don't know, something about the story and everything, I just kind of felt for him. And I can't describe it. Even though I'm nonviolent, he's very violent. I just felt connected to the skull, connected to like this I don't know, the story of the Punisher or whatever. So I bought a T-shirt. Then I bought another one. Then I bought another one. Then I got all the stuff that I have now. Now I have the watch. And it's funny because people compliment my watch. Be like, man, that's such a cool watch. The gold and black one. I love it. And they don't look at it really closely. If you look at it, it has his skull in the center and it's gold. And there's an eye cut out that's like one of the times somewhere else in the world. And they're like, and then if you look even closer, the second ticker has the Punisher logo on the end of it as it's going around so you can see it. So let me hit you with this, Ross. So I dated somebody many years ago, and Ross knows who it is. And so I dated this person, first long-term relationship that I had, and it was at Marywood, and she was older than me. And so...
Yeah, she was a genie in the bottle. You got to rub her the right way. That's my prediction.
Yeah, her name is a Disney princess's name. So to give Ross his hint, but so we talked last year, like 20 years later.
Oh,
and I said something to her about that I'm writing again. I said I'm really like thinking about screenwriting again. And she's like, I'm really happy to hear that you're writing again. And I was like, yeah. And then I said something about the Punisher. And this is 22 years later. And she said right before we got off the phone, she goes, yeah, I always remembered you had like an interesting relationship with the Punisher. Like I had a connection to it. And so she even remembered. So I thought that was really funny that even she was like, oh yeah, Frank Castle, you had a little, but now with John Bernthal, like I feel like I would put on my Punisher stuff. he puts on his Punisher stuff, and I'd love to shoot, like, even if it was just like something for like a spoof or whatever, like 5 minutes with him. I would love to sit with Jon Bernthal, because when I saw his panel years ago, before the Punisher season 1 came out on Netflix, which a lot of you that just broke up with someone will not be able to go see if you don't have Disney Plus. So it like, because it's on there now, which I called it, that was going to happen, that Disney was going to be the savior and take all the Netflix shows. I said that was in the works for like 3 years. But anyways, so in my opinion, so Jon Bernthal, before the first season comes out, he closes out like Sunday at New York Comic Con, and I'm covering it for Superpowered Pop, our entertainment show. And it didn't say the Punisher. It said like a special time or a special sit-in with Jon Bernthal. Like a special hour with Jon Bernthal. And so they talked to him about the Punisher. The way he answered the questions, the way he spoke, not even answer the question, the way he kind of just went off and did his own thing on the panel, the way he closed it, I was like, he's the Punisher. Jon Bernthal's the Punisher. And that was before we even got to see him in his show. This was just when we saw him appear in Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, and he helped co-write this 1 hour special that just came on Disney Plus. And he pretty much says that he wants to continue to do Punisher, but he only wants to do it if he has some say and influence on what the character is going to do, because he has this deep connection to the character. He has a love for the source material from the comic books. And the only way he wants to keep doing it, and he enjoys doing it, he has to have some say and influence, because he doesn't want to just be taken on a crazy adventure where he's going to be silly and just telling one-liner jokes like in a lot of Marvel movies and be like a Tony Stark knockoff. That's not what the Punisher character is. He wants to be gritty and grounded in reality and go through the anguish, like they said, of mental health and all the other things that he's going through, mental and physical abuse. He wants that all in there, and he wants to have some say in it because he has such a love for this character. So you know he's going to knock it out of the park every time he appears on screen, because he will not appear unless he knows that for sure they did right by that character, which in the past they didn't do. If you watch Punisher Warzone, today actually I saw online before we got on, the guy who played Punisher, Ray Stevenson, who was a great actor, passed away 3 years ago today. He was fairly young when he died. He was in Punisher Warzone, and he played the Punisher. The movie, though, is horrendous. It is terrible. It's not necessarily his fault. It's people who created it, and I don't think they took it as seriously as they should have. They made it campy and silly, and the guy was climbing over a wall, going like he was a geriatric man, going 2 miles an hour, and was like super slow moving.
It took him 37 minutes to climb a ladder outside of a building where there was over 200 people ready to kill him, and yet no one looked out the window to shoot him. That was by far the worst, some of the worst writing I've seen in my life.
In 2 seconds, he would have been discovered and killed. I'm like, so it was ridiculous.
Or maybe it wasn't the writing. Maybe it was the director that didn't care. I have no idea, but... You know, and by the way, if you go back and watch Punisher Warzone with Ray Stevenson as the Punisher, when he plays the Punisher, the guy that plays Jigsaw looks exactly the same as Jim Carrey did in Yes Man when he put all the Scotch tape on his face.
He goes into like a ghetto gangster situation, and he just like goes to the people there, and he gets them to join his posse, and he's just walking around very sassy like, and he's like, "Let's go kill the Punisher." I'm like, I don't know if there was like a cheap knockoff of the Joker he was going for, the mask with Jim Carrey, as you said, but it was horrendous. So I'm like, if you want to watch something just to laugh, watch Punisher Warzone. But if you want to watch the real Punisher, watch Thomas Jane's Punisher was pretty good, but watch Jon Bernthal and everything he's done so far with the show, with these specials, with hopefully a movie at some point. Watch that Punisher for the true definition of the Punisher. But if you want to just watch something silly, like America's Funniest Home Video version of the Punisher, watch Punisher Warzone. But that's the only way. But that's actually one of the movies I got you. So that's one of your DVDs. Don't know if you know where it's located, but that's one of your DVDs that you have possession of, thanks to me and Mr. Turbo Man.
Yeah, because we used to buy gag gifts for Christmas and Hanukkah, which we need to reinstate to get back to that previous point. This year we need to do it. So, but yeah, to get back to that, you know how they say there's two sides to every story? And you're like, yeah, but I'm telling the truth. I don't know what that person's telling, but I'm telling you the truth. Think about that. Think of the essence. There's two sides to every story, but sometimes the other side isn't the truth. That's like Jon Bernthal's Punisher and Ray Stevenson's Punisher. One of them is the truth. One of them, I can't. And again, I don't blame Ray Stevenson. God bless him in heaven. I don't fault him or Dolph Lundgren, who they made the first ever Punisher movie.
That's true.
And it looked like Purple Rain. It was like a purple cover. He wore a leather jacket. He was more Prince than he was Punisher. He couldn't wear the skull. It was like it was like Venom without the spider. And so
I don't think that movie actually was released ever in a movie theater in the United States. It was like in foreign countries. And then I remember, like, when I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, on Channel 11 on regular TV.
It looked like Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, they would play it randomly in the middle of the night. It was from 1989. That was my first introduction to the Punisher, was the Dolph Lundgren one, where I'm like, I love Rocky movies. I'm obsessed with Rocky. I'm like, that's the guy who played Ivan Drago in Rocky 4 against Stallone. And I'm like, what is going on here? It was not a good movie, but that's how it originally started. And then he just was at the premiere of another movie back in the day I watched with Dolph Lundgren. He was the original He-Man in the live action one. Now, June 5th, there's going to be a new He-Man version. So maybe Dolph Lundgren will have a sneak cameo in that. Who knows? I don't know if Dolph Lundgren would ever have a cameo in Punisher, but that was my first introduction to it. It's not good, but I just remember it being like a really weird movie. And then I looked it up. They're like, oh yeah, it was never released in the United States in any movie theaters. It was like some weird movie that went straight to VHS. So that was, a lot of people don't even remember Dolph Lundgren was the original live action Punisher. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, he was the first Punisher. I'm looking at it right now. And then it was Thomas Jane, and then it was Ray Stevenson, and now it's John Bernthal.
Yeah.
And Byrne is just, he's something else, I'll tell you. But you know,
everything he's in. You watch even The Bear, the cooking show that's about to end next month after 5 seasons. His character, it happened in the first season in flashback, so it's not a big spoiler. His character took his own life in the show. It was like the cousin Mikey. And that's how like it all gets started. But the entire version that you see of him is all flashbacks, and he makes it compelling. It's entertaining to watch a dysfunctional family argue and scream at each other, and kind of get to explain why he ended up taking his own life in the show and all that stuff. So he's great in that show, and he just did a one-off.
Ross froze here for a second. Let's see if Ross will unfreeze.
And they were just in that. They were just in that together, and it's called Gary, from like a road trip to Gary, Indiana, and that's a spin-off. Another thing that just came on Disney Plus around the same time as this Punisher one-off, and it's just him on a road trip, and it's a prequel to the Bear show, the cooking show. That's really good, and he's really good in that. So it's very compelling stuff. And apparently, those two actors are best buddies. They wrote that episode, and now that road trip episode, and now they're doing a Broadway show for the classic Al Pacino movie, Dog Day Afternoon from the 1970s. So they do a lot of work together, and he explains that apparently one of them was the understudy to the other when they were first getting going, acting in New York City and everything back in the day. So like they're very good buddies. So like I look forward to anything John Bernthal's in. And those two actors especially have very good chemistry, and they've been buddies for years. And you can tell it flies off the page from the script right onto the screen.
Who was the guy that you were saying was his buddy? Because you froze for a second there.
I can't remember the guy's name. It's he's a Jewish actor who plays a Jewish character, the Thing, in the new Fantastic Four movie, and he's in The Bear.
Oh, it's okay, yeah, it's
a lot in The Bear. They're very good buddies, and they're in this new road trip like prequel to the Bear show.
Yeah,
and
it's Evan Moss-Bacharach.
That's so now they're both in the Marvel world. But yeah, one is the new Thing in Fantastic.
You know what'd be cool is when they meet each other in like Secret Wars or Doomsday, But we have to take a step aside. When we come back, we talked.
We've not talked a lick of sports, and we've been on for almost an hour, and it's been fun, but it's all been like pop culture stuff and dating and streaming wars and things like that. No sports, not a wink of sports.
We're about to talk about sports, which might also have to do with dating, which might also have to do with something that is real but is not real, but we don't know.
It's life, so that's kind of the definition of your show.
So we'll be back with another confusing thing that does connect to the world of the sports, but we won't go there until I get to say to you from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, en route to our conversation coming up, one batch, two batch, penny and dime.
He repeats that over and over again. I remember that.
Yeah.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. We have a delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have the place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and That's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer, and we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're going to have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza, like our beef on weck pizza,
I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life. That's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head to GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. You will find them there with you right off of Teal Ave with Disney, Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, as well as so much more. Hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, you name it, while supplies last. They have a vast array of incredible product to go in there and buy packs, buy boxes, where you have no idea what you're going to get. Or go to their display case and know exactly what you're getting by picking out one of the cards that you like there. Get closer to your favorite team, your favorite player, and the favorite game you love to play, and the characters that are a part of that game by going to GG Cards and Breaks today. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Let them know the DT sent you. Special thanks to the wonderful team at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt has what they're calling nostalgia. You want to take and bond the new with the old. The nostalgia, what you love to have, not even the old, but something that you've just come to appreciate at Chick-fil-A. The original, the grilled, the spicy chicken sandwich. Well, now that nostalgia, it takes all three of those and puts Jalapeno Ranch Club on top of it. Experience that at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard, as well as the strawberry hibiscus beverages and the frosted ability to take a Coke Zero and frost it this time around. Frost a coffee. You could do a lot of cool things at Chick-fil-A, and you could do it at Chick-fil-A DeWitt today on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. We look forward to seeing you there Monday through Saturday. Remember, as always, they're closed on Sundays for the Lord's Day. And with that being said, we're back here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios, and I got a surprise for Ross and what I'm wearing. Look at what I added today.
Hey, I like it. The nice hoodie.
So one of the many Punisher things that I have. I did a show on Tuesday at Pizza Man with the Baldwinsville Bees baseball team, and was rocking one of my Punisher shirts. So Ross and I are here to talk about Old Faithful. And no, that is not some mountain somewhere. It is
this Aaron Rodgers.
It's Aaron Rodgers.
Like, I still want to know. I need to see the wife. I'm like, I still think it's a fake wife.
I'm telling you, my prediction of over a year or a year ago now. What was my prediction, Ross? I said he's got a wedding ring on, right? So I take the ring I usually spin and wear on my middle finger. Let me put it on my ring finger, right? And then I'm Aaron Rodgers, right? So I go up there, I got a wedding ring on, and everybody goes, "You got a wedding ring on? When'd you get married?" And he's sitting there answering questions. They're like, "Wait a minute. When'd you get married?" And they keep asking him. They want to know. I'm waiting for him to finally make my prediction correct when they say, "Where is your wife? We haven't seen her. We have no idea who this is." And he says, "I am married. Married to the game." I'm waiting for him to say that. I'm telling you, that was my prediction a year ago, and I'm waiting for it to come true. Not that I don't ever want him to be married. I just want him to... my prediction is that he's like, "I am married. married to the game, and then he walks, like that's his last press conference, his last game, and he walks away forever.
I think this is my Amanta Teo situation from back in the day with Notre Dame. I don't believe this girl's real. It would be great if she is. But I know he's like, I'm a private person. You know, he's always on the Pat McAfee show, making like $1 million appearance. And he's always talking about darkness retreats and did his Netflix documentary last year. It doesn't seem believable to me. And then all the wives and girlfriends of the Steelers claim they've never seen the wife. They don't know anything about her. They don't know her name. It seems like he made her up. He's wearing a ring just for attention's sake. And then he's like, wouldn't you like to know who she is? And he'll never show it to you. And then he just get on a private person. And then he claims that once he's done playing, which he claims, you know, he did with a smirk when he said, this is it, for his 22nd year, that he's like, I came back for one more year, a farewell tour, which, you know, the diva and Aaron Rodgers, as great as he is, he's got to milk it for all it's worth. He's like, I considered to come back. And he's like, my wife encouraged me to do it. And then I wanted to reunite with my Packers coach, Mike McCarthy, who was his coach for years in Green Bay. And at times they were at each other's throats because Rodgers at the time was the best player in football, the most talented passer of the football, and in his prime. And he was like, I don't need McCarthy. But they won a Super Bowl against the Steelers 15 years ago. Mike McCarthy is a Pittsburgh native, has the job now that Tomlin has stepped aside, will be working broadcasting NBC Sunday Night Football. And now they're reunited, but they claim for only 1 year. But even then, Rodgers gave a little smirk, like, yeah, this is it, I'm done. And then he kind of laughed and held back the smirk. And they're going to be together, swan song, and then he claims as soon as his last game's over, he's going to walk off, and he says, you'll never see him again. Yeah. Don't you think 2 days later he's going to be on the Pat McAfee show talking about how you'll never see him again? He'll just be on every week to make his appearance money, because I know he's made a boatload of money in his career. He's going to want the checks to keep rolling in. He's going to get 1 year, $22 million with incentives up to $25 million for this last year. Even if this is it, which you would think it is, because he'll be 43 at the end of the season. You know, he's born in 83, same birthday as my brother Henry, just 10 years older than Henry. I think you'll still see a lot of him. I think he still wants the attention. He's still a diva, very talented, great quarterback, one of the all-time greats. But I think he'll be overshadowed by this craziness, and then his conspiracy theorists, like kind of like RFK, the guy who runs our healthcare, about he doesn't believe in vaccines. And remember, even with the COVID thing, whether you like the shot or not, he said, I'm immunized. And he gave a wink, wink. Then it turned out he was not immunized at all. Who knows what immunized in his mind? He might think that means like eating a carrot, eating something healthy. And then he, at that point, he got suspended because everyone was fearful that they were going to shut the season down if COVID spread everywhere, and they were running out of players, and they didn't want to. They had to sometimes reschedule and postpone games. They got through that 2020 season. So between all the crazy conspiracy theories he has, and he's become this like larger than life kind of, people kind of think of him like a little bit of a wackadoodle. His documentary was called Enigma, and that's what he is. He's an enigma. He's a great, all-time great quarterback, but we have no idea what he really is, what he stands for. It's still kind of weird, even though they probably want some attention as well. He apparently has divorced his family. He has no relationship with them. His brother, I know, is like a reality TV star on like The Bachelor and all that stuff. So he's kind of an attention seeker as well. But he apparently has no affiliation with his family, and he has a mystery wife that there's no evidence of. And now he claims he's come back for one last season for $25 million. And if people believe that it's all scripted in the NFL, like the WWE, wouldn't you think that? And I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Steelers are destined for another decent year, 9 or 10 wins, that might just chill for a season like that. They'll make the first round of the playoffs, and they'll get blown out in the first round of the playoffs. That's what they are. They're in football mediocrity purgatory, that until they fully get a replacement for Ben Roethlisberger, they're going to be stuck where they have winning records, but they never do anything in the playoffs. And for other organizations, it's fine. The Steelers, it's Super Bowl or competing for championships or a playoff win at this point, or it's a bust. And Kenny Pickett didn't work out. Mason Rudolph is not the answer. At this point, and at least they're saying this is it, and you have to hope, fingers crossed, Rodgers can stay healthy. He mostly was healthy last year, had a decent year for an older quarterback. You got to see if Will Allen is actually your future. They think he's maybe the heir apparent, the Ohio State champion quarterback, or Drew Allard from Penn State, which a lot of people don't really think he is because they had to totally fix his mechanics at Penn State. They were out of whack. You got to see if they're the real deal. Rip the Band-Aid off. You got to kind of see, even if they're a bad team and they have a losing record, which they're used to at least having a winning record, might have to lose that streak. Tomlin never had a losing record in his 19 years. See if you have your quarterback in the building now, because Rodgers is not the long-term answer, whether he decided to change his mind and come back for another year or not. And if not, you would then have to either draft a quarterback, hope to get it right, or get another franchise free agent quarterback, because right now you're just stuck with another one-year deal. You're kicking the can down the road. You don't know who your quarterback of the future is. You need to, a lot of it's luck involved, because after Terry Bradshaw left, they had a lot of mediocre quarterbacks. So 20 years later, they got Ben Roethlisberger in 2004. But Roethlisberger, as much as people nitpicked him, and he wasn't always perfect, he was a great quarterback for 18 years. You had him for 2 decades. And now you miss that, to have a franchise quarterback you know is going to be there day in, day out. And the best you could do is go with an older quarterback who, if they had Rodgers 10 years ago, the Steelers would be the team to beat in the NFL this year. But he's not at his peak anymore. Still can throw the ball well, but he gets beat up a lot. He can't run away from the pass rush. And you hope he can just stay healthy and have this farewell swan song where they give him gifts every place he goes. I'm sure he'll want to milk that, the diva he is. And I hope he has a good final season. But if you want to think that this is fixed, can you imagine if they went on that 1-year run, just like Peyton Manning, though he was hurt and wasn't the same player, got to go out as a champion. Tom Brady didn't quite get to go out as a champion, but won a Super Bowl, won his first year in Tampa. Can you imagine if somehow the NFL people, they wrote the script that he's going to stay healthy for 1 year, win a Super Bowl, reunite with Mike McCarthy, the Pittsburgh native, and win a Super Bowl and go out on a blaze of glory, go out on top. That's what you would think if they're writing the screenplay. I don't believe that it's fixed. I believe that the referees are influenced by where they are sometimes, who's the home team or not. With a lot of times you saw the Chiefs get beneficial calls until they were garbage last year and had a lot of injuries. But how will this end? I would love to hear from you. First off, is the wife real? Don't believe she is. How do you think this swan song will be? And do you think he will milk it for every last dollar and every last moment he can to be the diva he is and to be the belle of the ball for this alleged final season, quote unquote, of Aaron Rodgers' illustrious career that pretty much is summed up by the documentary title. He is a very talented, thinks he's smarter than everyone else. He's an enigma. And I don't know if we'll ever know who the true Aaron Rodgers truly is.
Well, I think he's embraced the fact that his life is a reality show. And yeah. I think looking at the Kardashians, Michael Jackson, Prince, I think Aaron Rodgers maybe wants to be that, that folklore. Did he ever exist? Was he just a figment of my imagination? There's certain people that get to a heightened level of fame that almost become, are they a comic book version of themselves? Are they a real version of themselves? Are they a caricature? And we don't know. I mean, we don't know. I know that Aaron Rodgers dated somebody that I would have loved to have dated, which is Shailene Woodley. And so I know
she's had a lot of high-profile relationships, so that maybe that's the excuse. He wants to keep his wife out of the tabloids. He was engaged to Shailene Woodley, even though she gave a very nasty diss saying that she felt like she lost the will to live when she was with him. That's very bad. I've had bad relationships. I don't think at least I've never heard them say out loud, I lost the will to live when I was with you. That's how bad you were. That's allegedly what she said. So that's really bad. He went out with Danica Patrick, the famous female NASCAR driver. Yeah. Olivia Munn, who's now married to the very funny John Mulaney, the stand-up comedian. So he's been in a lot of high-profile relationships. And then he hosted Jeopardy for a while. I heard he wanted that job, but he was not going to be the host of Jeopardy. He thought he could replace Al Trebek, be the host of Jeopardy, and still play in the NFL. Because what I've heard, believe it or not, they actually only film 59 days out of the year. So they can film during the off-season in the NFL, and they do 5 episodes a day. So that's why they're on all the way to the end of July. They're on for like 10 months out of the year with new episodes until they have like 2 months of reruns till September. And they do only 59 days of filming. You make millions of dollars. And Aaron Rodgers at one point, and he auditioned for it, got a 5-day run at it. He wanted to be the host of Jeopardy and still be the superstar quarterback in the NFL. So he definitely believes he's this larger-than-life figure, and he's really built himself up to that reality star, as you said, the Kardashian lifestyle.
Yeah, he's embraced the quirkiness and some of those things that, people are trying to figure out, when millions or billions of people know you and they're trying to figure out who are you exactly, and they don't know and they keep digging. I think Aaron Rodgers just kind of embraced that, and Maybe he's screwing with everybody for fun. Maybe he is a little bit eccentric. Maybe it's both. Who knows?
But like underdog story, because like when he first came up, if you watch the documentary, it's actually pretty good. I recommend it on Netflix. Enigma came out last summer. When he first came up, no one wanted to recruit him out of high school. They didn't think he was good enough. They didn't think he had enough arm strength, which you could tell he's as a great arm throwing the ball downfield. But no one wanted him, so he had to go to community college route. Then he couldn't get any offers. He eventually got a scholarship at Cal. I think that was the only school that gave him a chance. Just like Mendoza now, the Heisman Trophy winner, before he won a championship with Indiana, now the #1 pick by the Raiders, Mendoza was at University of California in Berkeley. So he went there, and then he thought he should be the #1 pick, and his lifelong dream was to be the quarterback of his childhood favorite team, Joe Montana and the 49ers, just like Tom Brady wanted to be a 49er. And they picked Alex Smith over him. Alex Smith had a good career and then had the horrific leg injury, and luckily he's okay. He's a broadcaster now and was comeback player of the year with Washington after that leg injury. But then he dipped all the way to like the 22nd pick. The Packers then pissed off Brett Favre, who'd been their legendary quarterback for years and years. They took Aaron Rodgers instead of giving Brett Favre wide receivers and weapons to play with when Favre still thought he had a lot left. And Favre, just like Rodgers, is like, I might come back, I might retire, I might come back, I might retire. He's become Brett Favre pretty much with that, will he or won't they. And then he was pissed off. And then finally, after 3 years of sitting on the bench and barely playing, they finally said, enough's enough. You said you were retired. He went back in and they told Brett Favre, adios. So he had to play 1 year for my stinky Jets. And then he got to go to division rival Vikings to go get revenge against the division rival Packers. But then Aaron Rodgers had got that chance and flourished. He did great things. So he was an underdog. He came from no one wanted him in high school and college, had to go the JUCO route, and no one wanted him then in the NFL. He dipped in the draft, and then he had to sit behind a Hall of Fame legendary quarterback in Favre for 3 years. And then he comes back, becomes this great quarterback, wins a Super Bowl, wins 4 MVPs. But somehow from that little engine that could underdog Rudy story, and which would have been a great story, he's become something else. He's kind of become a villain. So I don't know if he enjoys that or the Rocky Rudy underdog story. Instead, it's like the Dark Knight where they said you live long enough to become the villain. He's become that, and he seems to embrace it. I much preferred the underdog Aaron Rodgers. He's become something totally different. So it's wild how his career trajectory has went. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone. He went from the understudy that people felt bad for to the guy that they think is, on ecstasy. So it's
ayahuasca at least.
Yes. So it's a very unique road, but there's people that knew Prince before Prince, and Michael Jackson growing up as a little kid, and then you see Michael Jackson with a new nose and looking different and he sounds different. So I mean there's a lot of things that you see now and you say, okay, well, what about the beginning? I mean, Brett Favre was an Atlanta Falcon. He was drafted by them before he went and held Green Bay hostage. Then you felt bad for Aaron Rodgers. Then he held Green Bay hostage. And then he almost took the exact same road of Brett Favre, going to the Jets.
He wanted to go to the Vikings.
Yeah, could have gone to the Vikings. That would have been the same road.
But they told...
Right, and then he ends up going to the Steelers. And, he's 42 years old. And God bless him, Vinny Testaverde, he was playing up until around this age, and I think even beyond it. But, I'm happy for Aaron Rodgers. I said that they would make the playoffs last year in his first year there, and he did. And
is it a good marriage, him reuniting with Mike McCarthy? Because they had...
Yeah, I mean, I think, okay, do I think Mike Tomlin should have ever been let go or whatever they want to call it? No. I think Mike Tomlin could have coached until he was done. I don't know what the Steelers are thinking. Bringing in Mike McCarthy, he did some good things in Green Bay. Nothing really worked out in Dallas. I don't know what they expect to work out in Pittsburgh, and I don't know why they think it's going to be better than Mike Tomlin. But in the case of 1 year, to bring in Mike McCarthy, who is the whisperer that could get you Aaron Rodgers because he had him for so long in Green Bay. He doesn't have to teach him a new system. There probably isn't even a system. It's probably just Mike going, hey, Aaron, go do your thing like you did in Green Bay. And so, I mean, kind of like Brett Favre. Brett Favre was like, hey, get open. Like that year with the Jets, I don't know if he read anything in the playbook. I don't know if there was a playbook. I don't know if he set it on fire and lit a cigar off of it while he was looking at the owners. I don't know if Brett cared about a playbook, especially after leaving Green Bay and like going and spending spurts in places. But and that's my opinion. But with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, listen, it's 1 year with Mike McCarthy. Mike knows him. He knows Mike. There's certain people that Aaron deals with. He deals with Nate Hackett, a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You know, and Nate talked to me about Aaron in a way, and I've kept it between Nate and I because it, you know, it should be. It was told in confidence. So I'm not going to say what the conversation was in confidence off the air, but I will say it helped me look at Aaron Rodgers in a different way. Like, a lot of people see him as this eccentric, crazy, wily guy who puts, you know, who makes cardboard wings and jumps off a building and thinks he can fly. And then I talked to Nate about Aaron, and it's like, could Aaron just be like messing with people because he just knows how people are? You know,
I think he is.
Or how the media, like, is he messing with the media because he kind of knows, like, you guys are going to say whatever you want anyway, so I might as well make it a circus. I might as well make it funny. I might as well make it interesting. I would not be surprised at the end of his career if Aaron said, "Oh, the media, I was just effing with everybody." Like, I wouldn't be surprised in that.
No, I wouldn't be either. He's kind of this eccentric person. I think he is a little weird and wackadoodle, but I think he plays on the media. He knows, like, to get a good sound clip, he's going to do crazy things. But I would probably believe more his good buddy Nate Hackett, that he had a lot of success with when he was his offense coordinator and everything. That I think a lot of it probably is overblown, and he's messing with people. And sometimes I think even like President Trump he's a little out there as well. But I think sometimes he says things kind of similar, where he thinks he's smarter than people, and he definitely wants to screw with people in the media. So I think in many ways he trolls the media, the president does, and I think Aaron Rodgers kind of does that. When Trump wears his 2028 presidential hats, 2032 is like, I'm never going to leave. I think Aaron Rodgers in many ways kind of does similar things where they are out there. I'm not saying that there isn't a little bit of a craziness to them, but I think they're also trying to screw with people and mess with the media because they know they have that power, and the media will run with the story and lose their minds because that's what they can do that, and they know that will be effective.
Yeah, and I think, listen, you get to a point with the media, and I'm media by definition of the role, but I don't act like 99.99999.
But you're still part of like the fraternity.
Right. But I am definitely not. And I would I get exhausted of the media. I walk into the room and I can tell you, they're going to pick that out. They're going to focus on that. They're going to twist that. They're going to keep repeating that. They're going to do that. Like, I can literally write on a napkin and go, here's all the stuff they're going to do, because the media, as much as they think, by and large, the majority that just sensationalizes and lies to people, as much as they think they're creative, they follow the same patterns all the time. And so I've said to Nate, I'm like, I'd like to just sit with you and Aaron and just see how he is. I don't have to have the microphone on. I'd rather just like sit with him and hang out with him and get a feel for him, because
get a taste of the real person, not this image that we have in our head, this like make believe like Paul Bunyan character. We want to know the real guy.
Or let him see that somebody in the media that didn't play in the NFL, doesn't have an ulterior motive, doesn't have anything to, I just want to learn about him. And I feel like I help people to feel safe and comfortable, because they are. And, I've said the same respect about Mike Tyson. I was like, I don't know if anybody's sat down with Mike and really just wanted to know Mike more than they've wanted to use Mike. So if I sat and I talked to Mike Tyson about his life and let him be himself, and he didn't feel caged or attacked, what type of Mike Tyson would I get? If I talk to Aaron Rodgers and I'm not trying to like bait him into saying something, and that's what people don't understand. They think players and coaches are stupid. Like, they know when you're trying to get to bait them, and if they don't know, then they get to know, and sometimes the hard way. But I talked to a good buddy of mine, and I said to him years ago, and now he's in the NFL. And I said, dude, I don't know what compelled me to say this to him that day, but I went up to him and I just like put my hand on him and I said, just so you know, not everybody's looking out for you in the media. And people are going to try to twist your words and not everybody is coming to you with a good heart and honesty. And I just want you to be careful, and I want you to be watchful and pay attention to people, because not everybody is looking to do right by you. Some people are just looking for a story. They're just looking for an angle. They don't care about you. And he told me like 3 years later, when we were talking about him going to the NFL, he came back on the show here on Wake Up Call, and he said, I never forgot that advice. He said, I never forgot that you told me that. And I was like, well, good, because I'm not telling you to hurt them. I'm telling you to listen, I wouldn't be hurting anybody in the media if they didn't do it. And I'm not trying to hurt them, and I'm not trying to close doors for them. I am calling out what I see because I'm in the room. And I tell people this all the time.
Well, you told me a lot off air, and I don't name names. There's a lot of fakeness. There's a lot of ego. And there's
you know how many times I've read my stories with someone else's name on it? I've watched my videos. I've listened to, like, do you know how many? I don't listen to the local news in Syracuse, New York, and I don't read the paper, and I don't read anything online, because I got to a point where I had had enough of seeing my own stuff.
Yeah, they'll like take direct quotes from you, and that's fine if they acknowledge who it came from, and they make sure to leave you out of it and claim like they broke the news. They're the Adam Schefter. They broke the exclusive, like in the NFL or collegiately for Syracuse, and they make it seem like they're the ones who worked hard and got the story, and they don't even acknowledge your hard work. So there are people who do that, whether it's for the athlete, the coaches, the media members, and there's pariahs out there. They steal things, and again, you've shown me a lot off air. There's a lot of fakeness and people who will smile right to your face, and they'll stab you in the back when they're in the room and you walk out. And then you even told me some crazy people who they'll say nasty things right to your face, and they don't even care. They're like, whatever, I tell it like it. So some will be nasty right to your face. Others will say it right behind your back and break your heart when you find that out. So, and they're both horrible and crappy things to experience. So it is messed up. And I am just curious, if you had to sum up, how do you think Aaron Rodgers will be remembered? If you don't get like this exclusive, very honest interview, like let's say you wanted to do or someone else would like to do, to know the real Aaron Rodgers that like a Nate Hackett, a real friend would know, how do you think, at least to the average fan of football, the average, people on social media, is it going to be a very shallow memory of him, that he's a great player, but he had all these craziness and all these, strange idiosyncrasies? How do you think Aaron Rodgers will be remembered 20 years from now, 30 years from now? It's going to be more than just he was a great legendary quarterback who's like top 5 all these records. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, but how will his memory be years from now? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think that Aaron will be, I think if he really does stay away from the media and he really does, kind of
just goes away,
just stays, continues to live his life, but privately, I think that all of the like sensationalization and the weirdness and the quirkiness and the, like treating him like they treat a lot of celebrities, I think that kind of goes away and people more focus on what he did. I think people more focus on the fact that he was a champion. I think they focus on the fact that, he had one of the strongest arms in the NFL. To some people, the strongest arm. I think he'll go down in history in a lot of people's minds of top 5s and top 10s of this and that. I think, he's a Super Bowl champion. The Super
Bowl champion, does it hurt him if let's say they don't have this Cinderella Super Bowl his last year? Will it hurt him as talented as he was? I know Skip Bayless loves to rip him apart. Stephen A. Smith has always defended Aaron Rodgers. Will it hurt him that he only made the one Super Bowl? He won the one Super Bowl. It was against the Steelers, who he's wrapped his career up with. But would it hurt him in his legacy if he ends his career with only one Super Bowl? Like, would it hurt Peyton Manning if he ended his career with one Super Bowl and actually had one less than Eli Manning, which was about to happen, and he was injured, and it was more the defense and the running game in Denver that won them that last Super Bowl. But if he doesn't go out on top, Peyton Manning doesn't win that second Super Bowl, and doesn't match his brother Eli Manning, who's considered talented but less talented than Peyton, would it hurt Aaron Rodgers' legacy? Never mind all the crazy reality TV stuff, the crazy stuff. Will it hurt his legacy if he ends his career with only one Super Bowl, as talented as he was?
I don't think so, because I will forever remember Dan Marino as one of the greatest quarterbacks.
He never won it.
And he never won it. So, I think I think there's certain people, you know, you don't take away from Peyton Manning that he won 2 when the second one was more defensive. But then I would say, you know, Tom Brady has multiple ones that he won because of his defense, and people don't talk about that. So you discredit Peyton Manning, but you don't discredit Tom Brady, and not even discredit. You shouldn't discredit anybody, but like give the flowers to the defense, but understand that some of these games, like the very boring game against the Rams, was a defense-laden game. So when Tom Brady won it.
Oh, you don't win a Super Bowl by yourself. Even if you're a great, you don't win or lose a Super Bowl by yourself.
Right.
So I give Tom Brady's flowers, even though a lot of times I was jealous as a Jets fan watching the Patriots destroy the Jets year after year. But and I give a lot of respect. I don't mind Tom Brady as much when he went to Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl. I like that he got to one up Bill Belichick and win a Super Bowl without him. And now as a broadcaster, I don't mind him as much anymore because he's not beating on my Jets anymore. Yeah. But the idea that, you know, say, yeah, great, 7-time Super Bowl champion, but he didn't win those all by himself. And sometimes they look at it where they just count the rings. Like he won 7, Manning only 2, Breeze only won 1, Rodgers only won 1. So that means that Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. Maybe he is the GOAT, but I don't necessarily think, if you just look with your own eyes, talent-wise, you can't convince me that Aaron Rodgers in his prime was not a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Tom Brady won more Super Bowls, was a better winner. He also was on better teams, and at times Rodgers' Green Bay Packers teams fell apart and fell short in the playoffs, which might hurt his overall legacy years from now. But it's hard for you to tell me that Brady was better than Rodgers, even though he has 7 Super Bowls and Rodgers only has 1. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And I could say, you know, in that respect, you know, I think we listen, if we're talking about sheer arm talent, Tom Brady is not the best. No. And you would look at Dan Marino, and I mean, you go up and down the line of a bunch of different Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, there's a lot to look at. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be remembered. I think he'll be revered. I think as time goes by, we're going to feel that and we're going to see that. I think right now, you know, it's kind of like maybe I don't want to talk to the media, but I have to talk to the media. So now I'm just going to do what I want to do the way I want to do it. But, you know, and I can see that this is just kind of like maybe a laughable thing to him that, you know, it's like he doesn't even think about it. He shuts his brain off. He goes to a press conference. He does his thing and then he leaves. And, you know, and he wouldn't be the first person to do that. And I don't want that for him or for the media, but I would caution the media and say to the media, the majority of you don't care about anyone. If someone was in the media and they got shot outside of a media hotel, you would walk over them and go, cool, more stories for me. I would not do that. But a lot of people in the media do not care. A lot of people in the media have no morals, no values, no compass, no God, nothing. And when I'm in that room and I'm experiencing that, I pray for those people. Just like I pray for anybody. I pray for them as much as I pray for my loved ones because we're all God's kids. I don't feel bad for media that disrespects, disparages, discredits, puts down, ridicules, scrutinizes. Like, listen, there is a way to write a story that you would want someone to write about you and have your mom or your dad read it. And I think a lot of media do not know the art of constructive criticism that comes with respect. You can talk about a team that's 0-12, but you don't have to talk about them like they should all go kill themselves. And I think that when the media does an 0-12 story and then they do a 12-0 story the next year, they think that none of the coaches or players or families read the 0-12 story. And then when you're 12-0 and they're, oh my God, like I've seen that full blown. Like I've been in a locker room where a team's struggling and people are like, why do you stink? Why are you bad? Do you want to kill? Like, you know, like sitting there like, why are you so terrible? Why are you this?
They're going through anxiety, emotions. Right. Craziest thing. Professionals, it's bad enough to make them feel like garbage. They're at least getting paid millions, but you still can feel for them. But they sometimes do that to high school and college athletes. I know now with NIL, like they can make money now in college, but for the most part, they're amateurs. They're not getting paid lots of money. A lot of them will never make it to the pros, and they even treat some of those guys who are still kind of like kids or very young 18-year-old adults, and they will pretty much make it seem like they're losers if they lose, or if they screw up or drop the winning touchdown or airball the winning three-pointer. they'll treat them, who are like young kids still, they'll treat them like garbage. It's bad enough to do it to a professional athlete. It's even worse to do that to a high school or college athlete. And I'm sure you've seen that over the years to the coaches and the players.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, literally people that will do that. Like they will go up and they will talk to you and be like, so you completed 3 of your 47 passes. How does that feel? And then like,
how's it supposed to feel?
Right.
But
Then the next year when the team's good, they'll be like, you're like the best player ever. And I've never said a bad thing about you. Right. And they're like, are you an idiot? Like you wrote smut about me for 3 years and now we're doing okay. And now you're my best friend. Like, let's be real, folks. I'm telling you this right now. Players and coaches and their families, they know you, they see you, but they smile to your face just like you smile to theirs. You're not the only one that can do it. But I've had players tell me before, they're like, Dan, we get a list every week. And they say, here are the people that requested you. If there's people in the media that requested us that we don't want to talk to, we say we have class. If it's somebody we want to talk to, we come out and we speak. We will literally say, oh, no, I'm not available. I got a lift. I got to do ice. I got class. I got something going on. They will not talk to someone. And then the school will say, oh, they had a class come up. They got something they got to study for. When in actuality, they know who you are and they don't want to spend time with you. And then sometimes they'll come out and sometimes they'll sit there and they'll talk with you and they'll smile and they'll giggle and they'll laugh and they'll back and forth. And then they'll walk behind there and shoot me a text message and be like, I can't stand talking to that guy. See, that's what people don't get it. The media that they trust, they'll tell me. They'll tell me the name. They'll say, Dan, if this person requests me, I'm not coming out. And so all these media people think they love us. They're here for us. Whether they win or lose, they're going to give me what I want because I work for the right business and I got connections. And then the reality is like, no, these players and these coaches, they know who they like. They know who they don't. And if you want to know reality, when they graduate, see who they talk to.
Absolutely. So I just know from a player's perspective, from a coach's perspective, and even the parents of these kids, they all know, they all remember, and a lot of them will use it as fuel, bulletin board material. They will remember these things. They'll clip out the newspaper articles or now look online on their phones, and they know when you're talking trash about them, and it will motivate them to do well and to shut you up. And and then sometimes when they might get a little hostile with a media member, we don't know the full story. They know that you talk garbage about them, and now they're like, we're not going to play this fake game. Sometimes they do, but they're like, we're not always have to do a fake smile, pretend that you're my best buddy, because I know what you think of me, and you're only doing this for the clicks and the likes and the social media exposure and trying to make money off of me and my talents, and they don't want to play that game. Some of them play the game. Other athletes are straight up like, we know what you really like, and we're not playing with that garbage, and you're two-faced. And that's what a lot of people in the media are. Like, I've been a part of the media a decent amount, and I've been a player, I've been a coach, but I know there's a lot of two-faced people in this industry at the smallest levels, all the way down to Little League, all the way to high school, college, pros. It never ceases to amaze me. There's just a lot of people out there. There's good people out there. They should be celebrated. There's a lot of people behind the scenes you'll never know about. They do great things, great work, and they don't want an ounce of credit. But then there's even way more of people who want all the credit, and they're attention-seeking, and they are just pariahs. And a lot of times you just do not want them in your lives. You have to, if they have to be in your life, put a smile on your face, and then you just know, do not trust them, because the second you walk out of a room, they'll be there to stab you in the back. And you just got to know that going into that, whether you're an athlete, coach, or another media member, that be careful who you trust and who you share information with, because they can weaponize that.
Yeah. I would rather talk to Aaron Rodgers than anyone in the Syracuse media. With that being said, not anyone, there's like 4. But with that being said, Ross is always...
me. That's all I'll say. I won't give the full initials. He starts with the letter.
Oh my God. So with that being said, we appreciate you. I love you. I'll look forward to talking with you soon.
He knows who he is, and Justin knows who.
And I will say this in the spirit of our fun. Jamie! So that's for you, Ross.
Get down, get to the chopper. We need you. Please get healthy, Dan. We need you on our airwaves and doing your show. It is so good. Give it back. It is not a tuba. Please get healthy. And I wish you the greatest speedy recovery. I love you, buddy. Please get healthy. Thanks for having me on the show today, Dan. I love you. Get healthy and take care of yourself and we be there, I'll be square, and keep it locked to the Dan Tortora show. And we hope to hear from you very soon on Wake Up Call.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I love you, buddy. Thank you for your well wishes and your prayers and your kindness and your laughter as always. I'll look forward to talking with you soon, and I'll look forward to HBO Max working for us both today.
Hope so, buddy. You gotta get ready for Lanterns. It looks good. And gotta get Apple TV, so watch the new season of Ted Lasso come August. And Lanterns comes in August, so good stuff to get ready for.
Absolutely. I'll talk with you soon. I love you.
All right, bye-bye. Stay safe. Get from surgery.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. That coming from Ross Turetsky. One more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We're rounding things out here on the show. We thank you so much for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT. Of course, on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, I should say. And thank you for being with us on each of those: Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our partners: Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Brakes, Mon Paz, Myers Creek, the Baked Potato Express, Pizza Man, Skippy's Ice Cream, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Brian's Landing, Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Game Point Sports Complex, Avicoli's, K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Willow Rock Pizza Pub, and the Willow Rock Brewing Company, where we will be tonight at the Pizza Pub, 6200 South Bay Road. Looking forward to seeing you there with the CNS Boys Lacrosse team at 6 p.m. today, Thursday, May 21st. Mother's Cupboard, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. The Bearcats are with us every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Find the Bearcats where sports meets life on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. You will find your Bearcats student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni, and you'll also find them every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time right here on Wake Up Call. They're also on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com. Go Bearcats! And to the baseball team, shout out to you as you head into your postseason and a hopeful opportunity to punch your ticket like softball did to the NCAAs. God bless for that. With that being said, I thank you all for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. Shout out to the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, Catherine Knapp of FM Hornets softball team. Shout out to her and to the team, and God bless to all of them. And of course, thanks to Myers Creek for the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week. Thanks to the Baked Potato Express for the Annoying Moment of the Week, to Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare for the Top Dog of the Week, and Ross Turetsky, as always, for all he has done. We'll talk with you all soon. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Take care.